So verbal section consists of guys two parts. You have a critical reasoning and you have a reading comprehension. And in verbal class, please keep speaking. Don't at all, don't at all be silent and all. Until you don't talk, it will be very tough for me to teach verbal. You have to keep speaking. So in verbal consists of two sections. You have a critical reasoning and reading comprehension. There are total 23 questions in verbal and you have 45 minutes. So out of these 23 questions, you can expect that there'll be at least 4 RC passes, you will 100% get 4 RC passes. If you get with 3 questions each, you will have total of 12 questions from RC and you can have 11 questions from CR. This is a normal thing. This is pretty normal. Sometimes it happens that you might have out of 4 in 4 RC passes, 1 RC passes might have 4 questions, other RC passes have three questions, but minimum 3 questions you will have. So you can have 13 questions of RC and in that case you will have 12, in that case you will have 10 questions of CR with you. So you have to be prepared that there will be 12 questions of RC for sure and 11 questions of CR for sure. 100%. Agreed? So it's a pretty simple stuff. In verbal, your reading habits 100% is taken into consideration because this matters a lot for sure. So it's not that now you need to start reading books and all. It's all about that solve more questions, as many more number of questions as you can. So before we get started into this verbal as to what critical reasoning is and what reading comprehension is, from your perspective, technically, from your perspective, can you tell me what is the difference between critical reasoning and reading comprehension? And all of you are supposed to participate. You speak anything, it doesn't matter at all. So can you please tell me what is the difference between critical reasoning and reading comprehension? Anyone? Before we get into this discussion of what critical reasoning is, we'll be starting class with critical reasoning today. Anyone?
So in critical reasoning, there is always an argument that you need to look out for and, need to understand the premise and conclusion. That is one thing that I think is there.
And in reading comprehension?
Reading comprehension, I've not solved it yet, but just by looking at the name, I think there are comprehensions that you have to read and answer the questions according to that.
Perfect, Mashira, to some extent, right? Anyone else? Please speak up, guys. Don't be silent at all. Raghav, what exactly you feel difference between reading comprehension and critical reasoning?
Uh, so I think Rahul, with RC, what I can understand is that, like Masira said, it's mostly, yeah, you have to, based on what you read in the whole comprehension, you have to just try to figure out the answer just based on what you have understood.
Mm-hmm.
So like in paragraph by paragraph, you get to know what are the questions around. It's mostly around what you have read.
Right.
And in critical reasoning, you have to try to decipher based on what the sentences you need to figure out whether what is the next step going to be.
Okay.
So like
Anyone? Yeah.
it's I think there are two, three you get two, three statements and then you figure out which is what it means in the end.
Anyone else? Bhavna?
So,
Bhumi? Ha,
so my
Gopal, please tell me.
so my understanding is in critical reasoning, it deals with basically the gaps, the fallacies,
What,
and
what,
in
what?
reading the
Once
gap.
more.
I
Okay.
mean, the critical reasoning is basically deals with the gaps for most of the time, and so it's based on the premises,
But
assumptions,
what
and
exactly you mean by gaps, Gopal?
so gaps means because there's a fallacies. The author drive the conclusion based on some evidence that might not be stated precisely or clearly, or can be seen by the naked eye sometime.
But author drives the conclusion means what do you mean by that? There is a conclusion mentioned in every critical reasoning. Don't mind at all. I'm just counter questioning you.
Uh, I mean, the there may be some premises that is explicitly stated, and also there might be some reasoning based on other studies, and
Okay.
sometimes the author may counter that, and based on that counter, the author derive in the one conclusions. So, and when leading to the conclusions, there might be some gaps, and we, as a critical reasoning, as a critical reader, need to identify those gaps and deal with the gaps, how the gaps will be tight between the premises and conclusion, so that the conclusions will be validated.
And what do you mean by
That's what.
RC?
So the RC is basically uh, the passage that has to be comprehend by connecting the each lines or maybe the each paragraph, and the answer has to be there. It's just to scan the answer, and you don't
Perfect.
have to. I mean, you don't have to have some critical analysis or critical thinking just to sometimes the rephrase or the paraphrase, and then there'll be the answer. That's what my understanding is for reading comprehension.
Perfect. Anyone else? Vaibhav? Shaurya? Bhumi? Bhavna? Any thought process? Guys, please
Yes,
keep interacting in verbal class. Do not be silent at all. Yes.
ma'am. So in line with what Gopal already said, so critical reasoning is something where we fill in the gaps. For example, in assumption questions, what we basically do is
No, don't take
we
assumption questions as a source of your explanation to
okay,
what is the difference between CR and RC, because assumption is
okay,
just one type of a question in CR,
yes, see, yeah,
right? Out of 10, 15, 10, 11 types of a question, assumption is just one type of a question.
correct.
Yes.
And RC would be wherein we'll not get any outside information. We'll stick to whatever is given in the, I
Perfect.
mean, whatever is given in the paragraph, and we comprehend based on that.
Perfect. Anyone else? Anuradha, you wanna answer? Bhavna, you wanna answer? Anything, whatever you want. Doesn't matter at all.
I have no idea.
Okay. Shivankar?
I think
Yeah,
Yeah,
Bhavna,
I
tell me.
think critical reasoning, I think if there is a hypothesis or an argument
What do
and
you
you
mean by
see
hypothesis? The whole point is, guys, I'm asking you, the reason
Hmm,
behind is simple, is that when you utter a word, because when you're doing a verbal sections
yeah,
of GMAT, every word that you think of is extremely important. So let's say you tell hypothesis. What the meaning of
I
hypothesis?
mean it's more like an there is an argument
But what is the
uh
meaning of hypothesis? You use the word hypothesis right now.
yeah I
What is the
mean
meaning of it? Tell me.
usually hypothesis is something like there is basically an argument sort of thing and
What is the
you
general meaning of hypothesis, Imankar? The reason I will be asking you questions in verbal class is that guys, you need to utter words. Until you don't utter words, I'll not get to know what exactly you're thinking of. And
oh,
every word that you utter makes some sort of a sense. Yes, please tell me.
yeah
Anyone, what do you mean by hypothesis?
okay. Basically hypothesis is more like an there is an it's an sort of an argument and you need to basically prove it.
What
Is
do you
it
mean by argument now? You are putting some huge words over here, Shimankar.
yeah
So
it,
hypothesis, normal meaning of hypothesis, anyone? You might be using these words, I think, on a daily
So
basis.
normal,
Yeah,
yeah.
Raghav.
I think Rahul, so normally what hypothesis you have, like in a normal scenario, it's like a null and an alternative hypothesis.
hmm.
And your main goal is you have to like try to reject the null hypothesis. You need to prove that null, that is a normal fact that their people are trying to pose, whether that is right or wrong.
Okay. So please understand, in critical
So
reasoning,
you do.
in critical reasoning, hypothesis means something that is believed to be true but has never been proved.
Okay.
Matlab, like let's say you believe on God, right?
Hmm.
But has God is there any proof of please don't matlab, I'm just taking an example, guys. 1 second. Someone is joining. 1 second, please. Yeah, I don't know what is happening. Yeah. So in critical reasoning, hypothesis means something that is believed to be true but has never been proved. So hypothesis is a sort of a conclusion that you draw. So I won't say I will not agree to that, Shimankar, for sure. What you said, but it's
Okay.
absolutely fine. It's
Hmm.
absolutely fine. Bhavna, what was yours?
Yeah, so I would like to say that critical reasoning means an author tries to tell an author tries to tell whether it's a statement, a situation where it defines or it might be an argument or something, which a supporting statement and a thought of the author.
Hmm.
Based on that, they ask questions for critical reasoning, and reading comprehension is like where author tries to define a situation, then give an argument. Then there's so many things going in
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. Now I think there are a lot of people who have not no idea about what critical reasoning and reading comprehension is, because there are some people I think in the class who has already prepared for GMAT, and there are some people in the class who are completely new to it. So please understand, structure wise, I'll tell you the exact difference. The difference is not structure. What happens in critical reasoning, guys, who are new people, that there's a small sort of a passage given to you. A small passage is given to you. And based on this, based on your reading of the passage, you will be asked a question. In reading comprehension, there is a big passage given to you. And based on that, this it's pretty simple thing. There is big passage given to you. The passage may be of 3 paragraph or maybe of 4 paragraph. Nowadays, I think out of 4 passages, 2 passages you are getting is a very lengthy one, which is 4 paragraph. But trust me, the passages which are lengthy are very easy to understand because 90% of the time questions are extremely location specific question. So please come over here. Now understand the difference between CR and RC. Please understand there is no one difference at all. There are multiple people can have a multiple views about it, but let's understand the most subtle difference. What is between CR and RC? What happens in critical reasoning, guys, that while you are marking the answer in critical reasoning, while you are marking the answer in critical reasoning, you are essentially trying to respond, you are essentially trying to respond to respond to the information given to you in the passage. Respond to the information given to you in passage. I won't call it passage, I'll call it argument. For right now, I'm calling it passage, but it is called as an argument. It is not called as a passage. I'll come down to those things later. So what happens in critical reasoning, that it might happen that you have a very beautiful understanding of the small passage that's given to you, where you might have a very beautiful understanding. And despite that, you may end up marking answer very wrong, extremely wrong. The reason behind that is that your response may be completely haywire, completely haywire. You will have no idea about what exactly is the scope of the situation that has been presented in front of you or the scenario that has been presented in front of you. So in critical reasoning, what we do, while we are marking the answer, you are essentially trying to respond to the information that has been given to you. Your answer is nothing but your response to the information in critical reasoning. What happens in RC is that while you are marking the answer, you are trying to accept the information. You are trying to accept the information from the passage. So please understand one thing. When I'm saying you, while you're marking the answer in reading comprehension, you are trying to accept the information from the passage while you're marking the answer. So if your acceptance is clear, if your acceptance of the passage is clear, acceptance is clear means what? If you have a good understanding of the passage, there is no way you will be doing anything wrong over here. Because in reading comprehension, understand, there are just 2 types of a question. If you ask me, I would say there are just 2 types of a question that are asked in reading comprehension. One is your primary purpose. Primary purpose is nothing but key idea, or it is nothing but gist of the passage, whatever say. And the second, all questions I can say is inference questions. All other questions can be classified into inference-based question. So what happens in reading comprehension, that I can 100% ensure you 80 to 90% questions in reading comprehension are location-specific question. I'm giving you a very clear idea over here. Our location-specific question. It means what? That you should have a understanding of the passage. Your first job is to read the passage. There is no other way. You go ahead, write in YouTube that how can I solve the passage without understanding the passage. 100,000 videos will pop up, but this is all crap, I can tell you. But just imagine if you do not have understanding of the passage, how can you mark the answer? This is just impossible scenario presented in front of us. Because once you go to the B school, they'll give you to do a case study. They'll give you 500 pages book, read it in a week and go and do the case study. Do you really feel that if you do not understand those pages, those books, how will you present a case study? So the point is pretty simple. The acceptance of passage should be very clear. Acceptance of passage means understanding of the passage. What I've told you, 80 to 90% are location specific questions. It means what? Once when you are going back to the question, you have to come back to the passage while you're marking the answer. It will never happen that you have read the passage and you are reading the question, just marking your answer by yourself. That won't work. You have to come back to the passage. And when you come back to the passage, it should be extremely clear to you that question is asked from which location. Is it asked from first paragraph, second paragraph, third paragraph, fourth paragraph? Even in third paragraph, it is asked exactly from which place. So these are the stuff that should be 100% known to you. And if This is clear. I promise reading comprehension will be a very easy job. Because I personally believe that if someone whose CR critical reasoning is good, CR is good, I hardly see people that they are bad in RC. Impossible, because in CR you have to use a lot of your thought process, lot many. Your job is to read the passage that is given to you. That is called as an argument. I'll come down to that. You need to have your understanding. When you in fact when you are trying to mark the answer, your response should be very much into the scenario that has been presented. So critical reasoning, the most basic understanding of critical reasoning, what I can say you that imagine there is a scenario that has been presented front of you. How do you react to that scenario? Just imagine there is an electricity problem in your home. Electricity problem in your home. You go and make a tweet to Prime Minister that PM Modi is responsible for it. Is responsible for it. Do you think your problem will be solved? Yes or no? Taste it. Why?
It's not the concern of
Prime
most.
Minister Modi, right? Absolutely. So you have to be very much within the situation that has been presented. If there is electricity problem in your home, you will go to the municipality of that area and go and complain. Your electricity will be made. You going and saying that Chief Minister of my state is responsible or Prime Minister is responsible. You are going very much beyond the scope of an argument. So please understand there is nothing called right or wrong. The point is, if you have some friend who has completely leftist ideology, he will 100% support you. Can know you are doing very good. People should know that Prime Minister Modi is responsible for it. But someone who's a sensible guy, he will tell you, can no, go to the municipality, complain them. It will be taken care of. Just putting a tweet that PM of the country or CM of my state is responsible will not solve your problem. So critical reasoning says you that if a situation is presented front of you, how do you act in this situation, being very much within the scope of a situation? You are not supposed to come with some very different sort of an argument. How you react to a situation, how you react to situation, being very much in the scope of a situation. You cannot come and present some very fancy sorts of a result by yourself. You do this, it will happen. No, you have to be very much within the scope of a situation that has been presented to you, and based on that, you mark up your answer. That's how we go ahead. There is no other way around at all. Anyone has any problem over here? Because critical reasoning, guys, like the biggest, there's a guy called Ram from Stanford University. He's a very big professor of he's of a background which, what is that called, neuromarketing stuff and all. He has straight away come and made a statement, and it was in Poets and Quantities, not my statement that I'm trying to say you. They say that he said that if you're not good in critical reasoning, you cannot be a good decision taker in your life. You cannot have a good managerial skills in your life. And that's very true to some extent, I can tell you. Because CR exactly teaches you how should you be within the scope of a situation. If there is a problem in your city, you cannot say that Delhi has solved problem in this way, so Mumbai should be solved problem in this way. No, Mumbai has its own challenges and all. So the point is that when you are trying to respond to someone, when you are trying to give a solution to someone, you have to ensure that you be very much within the situations. That's it. Very much within the scenario that has been presented to you. Is that clear? The difference between CR and RC is understood, yes or no? For the people who are new, who have no idea about what is CR and RC, the normal concern for CR is that you have a small passage given to you. Based on that, you are asked the question. In RC, you have a big passage given to you. Based on that, you are asked the question. The actual difference comes that while you are answering the questions of CR, you are trying to respond to the information that has been given to you in the argument. While you are answering the questions in RC, you are trying to accept the information. Not one single questions in RC will be beyond the, it will be 100% from the passage itself. You just need to locate the, you just need to locate the stem where the question is asked from. And if you are able to locate it, you will be able to, you will be easily be able to answer the question. But the point is again, if you want to locate it, there should be a very good understanding of the passage. If not a very good line by line understanding, at least you should understand the entire structure of the passage very clearly. What is first paragraph trying to say you? What is second paragraph trying to say you? How is first paragraph related to second paragraph? Again, what is third paragraph trying to say you? How is third paragraph related to second paragraph? So if these relations are clear, it might not be possible that we go ahead and understand statement by statement everything. No, but the structure should be 100% clear. Yes, Salak, please tell me. You don't have to raise your hand, just speak. No issues at all.
Yeah, yeah. So often in RC, like if I've solved an RC and there is an element of CR as well, where they ask, what do you mean by the
No,
lines
they
in
may ask you,
paragraph
what do
4?
you mean by inference? What do you how do you strengthen it? How do you weaken it? Those things, all other questions can be covered into the inference question itself, Shalak. Inference question means, imagine they ask you the element of CR, they'll ask you to strengthen it or weaken it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But do you really feel that you will be able to strengthen and weaken until you don't get the location to which location the question is being asked from?
No, no.
That's the whole point. So in
Okay.
RC, that is one thing which is very much important, that you should be able to locate at which place from which paragraph the question is being asked from. And for that, to happen, your understanding should be good. At least if not line by line understanding, the passage understanding, the whole overall structure of the passage should be understood very well. So should we start critical reasoning, or you have anything to discuss over here? So these are the two sections, guys, that you will be asked. Very much given to you. Please ensure blind practice will not solve your problem. You cannot go ahead and solve some 5,000 questions of CR and you think that you will be good. No, that won't be the case at all. There has to be a very strategic practice that is required, and we'll do it for sure. So let's start critical reasoning without wasting time. What happens in critical reasoning, guys? Please keep speaking, keep asking your doubts. Don't be silent in, at least in verbal class, until you don't speak, or else it will be all problematic then. So what happens in critical reasoning, that there is a small passage given to you. There's a very small passage, not very small, sometimes it's big also. And this passage is called as an argument. So please ensure critical reasoning passage, you are never supposed to speak passage and all. It is called as an argument. This is an argument presented front of you. What do you mean by this argument, by the way? What is the argument? What is the meaning of argument? Imagine when I say that Bhavna is a good girl. Bhavna is a good girl. Is this a argument? Yes or no?
It's just a conclusion.
It's not a conclusion. I'll come down to conclusion. It's very entertaining. The point is, you people should be able to interact in the you're just interacting. How it is conclusion, mad? Bhavna is a good girl. Is, are, has, have. These are all factual words. Sometimes factual words can be used as a conclusive word. We'll come down to that. But when I say Bhavna is a good, what do you mean by argument, by the way? Argument means there are some facts given to you and some conclusions are given to you. What do you mean by conclusion? This is the main point drawn by the author. Main point of author. Tell me one thing, and this is something which all of us does, but we don't relate to it. Tell me one thing. Can you come and tell me, ki Rahul, India would become a developed nation by 2050? Rahul, India would. There's some noise coming in. Rajat, can you mute yourself? I think there's some noise coming in.
Yeah, sure.
India, can you tell me, India would become a developed nation by 1950? India would become a developed nation. By 2050. Can you tell me this statement? Can you come and tell me this? Because you are
There's
trying to draw the main point of your argument. You are trying to give, this is the final conclusion that you are trying to give me. But if you are trying to give me this conclusion, you will have to supply me a fact. Now, what the hell you mean by ki Rahul, India would become a developed nation by 2050? No, that's a crappy stuff to do. You will have to supply some sort of a fact. Ki Rahul, the growth rate of India from 2010 to 2015 is this, 2015 to 2020 is this, the GDP, the way GDP has growing right now in India is one of the best in the world. So growth rate of 2020 to 2024 is this, what we are expecting, the policies of government whatsoever. We estimate, we feel that based on all these facts, we feel that India would become a developed nation by 2050. So always remember, when you try to give a message to someone, when you try and say your opinion, when you try and give your opinion to someone, the best word is opinion, in fact. When you try to portray your opinion or give your opinion to someone, do you 100% supply a facts for your opinion or not? Tell me one thing. Do you supply facts for your opinion or not? Your opinion could be anything. You can come and tell me, "Ki Rahul, you know what? I think the right-wing government in India is not doing good." But you just telling this will not solve the problem, right? You will give me some sort of a fact. You will tell me that there are atrocities happening over here, this is happening, that is happening. And that's the reason I can say, Rahul, ki right wing is not governing India in a good way. The point in critical reasoning is, guys, author wants to convey main point. But how do author convey the main point? It conveys the main point with the help of facts. It writes a lot of facts over there. Based on that fact, author gives its main point, that I personally feel that India would become a developed nation. So author will write a lot of facts over here. And based on that, author will present his main point. So conclusions are nothing but the main point of a author. So argument means it's a combination of fact and conclusion. So when I say Bhavna is a good girl, this is not an argument, because I'm just presenting a fact front of you. I can say Bhavna is a good girl, she's a gold medalist, she's a university topper. These are all factual thing, fact information I'm giving to you. So this is not an argument. Argument would be what? Ki Bhavna is a good girl, she's a university topper, she's a gold medalist, and that's the reason I believe that she would get into Harvard Business School. Now, this is called an argument, where you are putting down of your facts, and based on your facts, you are trying to give some sort of opinion that she's a good girl, she's a gold medalist, she's a university topper, and that's the reason I feel Rahul she will get into Harvard Business School. Am I being clear? Yes or no? Please tell me. Please ask me the questions if you can. Is this right? Yes or no?
Yes,
Clear till now.
clear.
Rahul,
Yes.
shouldn't
Yeah.
the statement which you just put out, that Bhavna is a good girl, but that can have opposing and supporting views as well. So
Absolutely. Yes. Why not? It can have a lot
wouldn't
of.
that be an argument? Because argument
No,
can have.
opposing views cannot be an argument. Based on the fact that you have presented, Rajat, there could be an opposing view, but based on that opposing view, you will also have one sort of a conclusion, right? You will have
Okay.
your opinion. I can say Bhavna is a good girl, she's a gold medalist, yet she's the most lethargic girl you have ever seen in the life. But what is your final conclusion? Still, you are all presenting the facts. You are presenting a good points about her. At the same time, you are trying to portray some bad points about her. But what is the final conclusion that you are trying to draw? What is the final? Because what you are trying to say me, this is a good girl, she's a university topper, yet she's the most lethargic girl you have ever met in your life. But still, this is a factual information that you are giving, Rajat, right?
Okay.
Now, based on this, what is your opinion? That if she ensures that she take cares of it, she becomes a bit of discipline, she can qualify into the world best B schools or whatever. She can qualify into UPSC, whatsoever. But you have to put down a message for it, for sure, it to be an argument. So critical reasoning, the entire thing is called as an argument. An argument simple means combination of fact and conclusion front of you. Am I right? You can never call critical reasoning passage to be that it's a small passage. No, that's not the way to be told. Am I right?
Okay, got it. So it's a subset of fact and conclusion. Okay.
It's a subset. It's a set of fact and conclusion, not
Okay.
subset.
Okay.
Please ensure. No, please, it's absolutely fine, because see, until you people don't speak, I will not get to know what word you are thinking of and all. So please ensure, let's come down to again. Let's say I'm writing an argument over here. Now, please ensure that when there is a small passage, it means it's a critical reasoning question. When there's a big passage, it's a reading comprehension. That's the easiest ways to identify the difference between CR and RC. Now, in critical reasoning, this passage is never called as a passage. It is called as an argument. An argument consists of what? Facts and conclusion. You can say conclusion or the main point of author. This is, or the message of author that is trying to present. Tell me what could be the, and fact is nothing but premise also. Fact is also called as a premise. I think when you read that book, but guys, here concept book, the book I have given you, I swear to it, there is no other book better than that. I'm telling you so openly. You will not get a book better than that. And you don't have to read that book one time. You have to keep reading that book. Matlab, very often. Read as much time as you wish. You will have a very clear understanding of what critical reasoning is. Now, tell me one thing. Fact means premise. Now, before we get into what critical reasoning is, tell me what is the difference between fact and conclusion? First of all, what is the difference between fact and conclusion? Anyone? Difference between fact or conclusion? Yes, please tell.
Fact is the truth, like it is already established, and like it's the truth, and conclusion is not. Uh, we can't say it's the truth because it could be, like it can change according to the other person's opinion.
That's beautiful,
But
Bhavna.
fact is fact.
That's beautiful. Anyone else? Difference between facts and conclusion. You have to understand them.
Facts, facts is undeniable, unchallengeable, and
Beautiful.
the conclusion is challengeable. You can challenge the
Always,
conclusion.
always debatable. Please ensure that facts are something that is non-debatable. You cannot debate upon facts. Facts are something that has already happened. Please ensure if I say your score in GMAT is 735. Now the point is, do you really feel that is there anything to be challenged over here? No, you have got a score of 735. You have got that score. It doesn't matter how you have got that score. You have studied and you have cheated and you have got, it just does not matter. The point is you have got 735. Can anyone challenge on this? No. So this is a fact. Something which has already happened are always a fact, and facts are non-debatable because it has just happened. If you say sun rises in the east, this is a fact. Now, what is there to debate on this? Your thought process will not do anything else at all. Sun still rises in the east. So something that is not debatable is a fact, and conclusions are, guys, always debatable. Always debatable. So when I said Bhavna is a good girl and she would get into Harvard, now I'm trying to say ki Bhavna is a good girl, she would get into Harvard. This is my message. But a third person can come and straight away start backfiring on it. Ki Rahul, what the hell you was trying to say? What do you mean by she is a good girl and she would get into Harvard? See, how can she get into Harvard? Now there's a whole lot of a debate that can be done on the conclusion, but facts are never debatable. Never ever debatable. Always remember that. You cannot just debate on the fact. You are solving any critical reasoning questions, any critical reasoning, and how many numbers of critical reasoning questions you are solving, it does not matter. Always remember, if you do not identify what is the conclusion, you have your first job in any critical reasoning question is to read the argument. I am not saying a small passage and all now, because this is called as an argument. This is not called as a small passage. Your first job in critical reasoning is to read the argument. Based on your reading, you have to identify what is the conclusion of the passage. If this is not identified in any critical reasoning question except for inference one, I'll come down to all those things. But if you are not able to identify what the conclusion is going to the questions, you solve 5,000 question, 10,000 question, it will never matter at all. Your 100% job is to identify conclusions. It might happen that initially you will be at a very slow pace, a damn slow pace, but slowly and gradually things will be fine. You're not supposed to rush it up at all. In literature, by your wish, your literature will never improve at all. It takes its own time and it happens. It 100% it will 100% happen, but it might take some time for sure. So the difference between fact and conclusion is simple. Facts are non-debatable. Conclusions are always debatable. Can I ask you what is the role of a fact in the argument? I'm going very slow, guys. What is the role of a fact in the argument?
I think the facts help you get to the conclusion.
Facts help you to get to the conclusion, okay?
So based on
It's
the
a
facts
very,
on
it's a very, I would say, it's not such a strong statement that you have made. Though you have made a right statement, but in a very mild way. Anyone else? What is the role
Yeah,
of fact?
it's
So
like
to
other
support the
uses.
conclusion,
Absolutely. There's no, it's not, it does not help you to get to the conclusion, Raghav. It 100% supports conclusion. It is 100% to support conclusion. That's it. Please understand one thing now, in a very normal way. When you are trying to draw masses, when you are trying to give your opinion about anything in the life, anything, you can tell ki Rahul, Gurgaon is a very beautiful, Gurgaon is an upcoming IT hub in the India, one of the best place to be in. So when you are trying to give some opinion of your own, you will 100% put up facts over there, no? You can say ki Gurgaon, the growth rate of Gurgaon is immensely high. It is 10x every year. There are a lot of things that are coming up. And so I can say Gurgaon is one of the best place to be in India for sure. So when you are trying to put down your opinion, when you're trying to say up when you're trying to put down your thought process, ensure that your thought process is always backed by the fact that you present. So role of a fact in the argument is only and only to support conclusion. Always remember that. There's no other roles of a fact that exist at all. Am I right? Yes or no? Please tell me. Am I right? Anyone who has any problem over here? Perfect. So now, now come down to this part. I'm going very slow, guys, because this is one thing that needs to be understood very well. If you understand these stuffs, this segregations, ki what exactly is fact, what is conclusion, solving a CR questions will not be a problem at all. So one thing again, before we get into the understanding of what are the types of a question that are asked in CR, always remember that in GMAT question, the argument that's presented front of you is considered to be 100% true. What do you mean by this? Considered to be 100% true. It means whatever, you cannot challenge the argument. Imagine, now I have written Bhavna is a good girl. Bhavna is a good girl. And she would get in Harvard. She would get in Harvard Business School. Bhavna is a good girl and she would get into Harvard Business School. Let's say this is the conclusion. Let's say this is the argument I have written, and this is a CR question. Please ensure, however vague it looks to be, you are not supposed to challenge the argument at all. You have to believe this. Your blood may start boiling. Ki, Rahul, how is this possible that an argument states she is a good girl and she would get into Harvard Business School? How much ever your blood boils, it does not matter. If it is written in the argument, sun rises in the west. Sun raises in west. You have to believe that sun raises in the west. Do not put up your own knowledge that sun raises in the east. Whatever scenario is presented, and be 100% sure the scenarios that are presented to you, in at least in GMAT questions, are never debatable one at all. They are always non-debatable. But I'm just telling you that argument should be considered 100% true. You are not supposed to challenge the argument. Your job is to respect the argument. And when I say your job is to respect the argument, what do I mean by this? What do you mean by respect the argument? What is the meaning of this? It means that consider argument to be 100% true. And when I say consider argument to be 100% true, it simple means do not challenge the fact that are present in front of you. Do not challenge or support facts that are presented in front of you. And this is valid for any type of a CR question. You might not understand this right now, but let me solve some questions. You will have a very clear understanding. So your job is to always respect the argument. Respecting the argument means treat argument to be 100% true. And when you are trying to treat argument to be 100% true, it simple means that you are respecting the fact of the argument. And respecting the fact of the argument means what? That you should never challenge the fact, you should never support the fact. So when I say Bhavna is a good girl, she would get into Harvard Business School. Tell me one thing, how can I strengthen this particular argument? So it will slowly and gradually, it will get into a very complex thing. So please be aware, please keep asking your doubts. You don't speak in verbal class, it will be stupidity. When I say Bhavna is a good girl, she would get into Harvard Business School. How can you strengthen this particular argument?
She has a high GMAT.
She has a high GMAT. Okay, Rajat. Anyone else?
Her
So my
academic
understanding to
scores and
strengthen
all.
is
Yes, Himankar, tell me.
Her academic scores and all.
Her
Good
academic
value.
scores and all. Anyone else? Gopal, you were trying to say something. Please tell.
so my understanding is anything that support the conclusions is going to be strengthened.
Don't tell me that. Tell me how do you tell me a reason, tell me a logic. How do you strengthen this? Give me a reason to strengthen this. Tell me what according to you, what exactly which will strengthen this argument? So I think
I mean,
Rajat told she has a high GMAT
she's
score.
she has the high GPA. She has
She has
the
a high
extracurricular
GPA, high
activities.
GMAT, extracurricular activities. Perfect. Anyone else? Shalak?
She has
Yeah, she has a good profile and she has great marks in GPA.
Perfect. Anudeep?
she has all the requirements that the Harvard requires a student to join.
Now tell me, if it is written to you in the option that she has a high GMAT score, she has a high GMAT. I should not have been discussing this right now, but out of curiosity, I'm discussing. She has a high GMAT score. Someone says she has a brilliant academics. Which answer will you choose? Tell.
Both should
High
be
GMAT.
good.
Then in GMAT only one answer is right for your information, not never two. Tell me. Yeah, Bhumi, you were trying to say something.
Yeah, high GMAT, I think.
High GMAT. Why not brilliance in academic or brilliance in GPA?
Because GMAT score
A very
matters.
good profile and a decent GMAT score. Stupid. These are all. Tell me one thing. Now, it may be highly controversial stuff. Few people may go mad about it, but it's absolutely fine. Bhavna is a good girl. Now, please ensure you are answering the question that you have no idea about Bhavna. C as an element exists in the world is not known to you. The reason is given the Bhavna is a good girl, she would get into Harvard. I'm asking you to strengthen it. My dear friends, you are not strengthening
Uh,
conclusion. All of you are trying to strengthen the fact that her GMAT score is high, her profile is high, she has a brilliant academics. This is all crap because you don't know about Bhavna. If you are telling anything that she has a high GMAT score, she is brilliant in academics, and she has a high CGPA, it means that you are trying to support the fact. You have got no idea with the conclusion here. This is all wrong. In fact, this is not strengthening, this is weakening let's not get into this. I'll come down to this later for sure. You will have a very clear understanding. But please understand what all answer have you given. None of answer is strengthening the argument. The strengthening the argument is a normal thing. All good girls get into Harvard Business School. Please understand, you have no idea about Bhavna as an entity. You are just looking into this argument ki Bhavna, some random element, is a good girl and she would get into Harvard. Now I have asked you to strengthen this argument. You told ki she has a high GMAT score. Someone said ki she is a brilliant in academics. She has a beautiful CGPA. But please understand, are you strengthening the conclusion or you're trying to support a fact? Think about it now.
It's like supporting fact. Maybe we
um,
should, it's like she applied for HBS and she possesses all the required qualifications, could be a strength. She wants
yep.
to join.
She applied for HBS. Nahi, to the conclusion says ki she has got into Harvard. She would get into Harvard.
Okay.
So she
Uh,
would get into Harvard. It means ki by default she has applied. This normal strengthening here would be ki all good girls get into Harvard. That's it. You cannot come down and speak anything else about Bhavna. So this is what it means, that how you are supposed to be very much within the scope of an argument. So when I say ki when you are trying to react, this is what is the reaction to the information that has been presented to you. This is exactly what I wanted to explain you. Okay, this is how you react to and this is the reason that CR questions can be very well understood, very beautifully understood. And in spite of that, you might end up getting a wrong answer if you do not concentrate. But I'm being very clear. I should not have discussed this with you now because it will make you mad for sure. These things I'll come later. I'll discuss in a very proper way, all this stuff. But let's go step by step. Yes, Shalak, tell me.
Yeah, so just to confirm if I'm correct or not, so we have to strengthen the premise itself. We don't have to draw any assumption here.
You have to draw assumptions. Assumptions are nothing but a strengthening of the conclusion. I'll come down to assumptions again. Just don't speak word assumptions and all. Again, everyone will go mad.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, Shamankar, tell me.
Yeah, my question is like about the statement. I just thought about it. What if there was certain LORs that told about her behavior, work ethics, and
There
everything?
could have been a lot of things, Shamankar, but this
Okay.
argument doesn't give any information to you, no? And you are supposed to be very much within the scope of an argument. Whatever informations are presented, you should act accordingly. You
Okay.
cannot act anything by assuming something on your own. Okay? So this is a normal argument, but again, it is a very distracting stuff. Let's come down to again same thing. I was just trying to say you, ki what do you mean by respecting of the argument? It means do not challenge or support fact. Whatever argument is given to you, assume it to be 100% true. Do not bring your knowledge from outside. Yes, Rajat, please tell me.
Yeah, so yeah, you were just explaining on that. I wanted to ask whether uh, HBS is a strong school would be a supporting fact, but yeah, you answered it.
No, that's not. No, no, no. But how does it matter? How does it matter? HBS is a strong school or not a strong school? How does it matter to me? C would get into HBS. That's it.
Okay.
Let's say HBS is known to you. I would say she would get into SDA Bocconi. Now you might have not heard the name of this college, right? So that doesn't
Okay.
matter. That doesn't matter at all, Rajat. Now come down to the question. So what happens here? Let's go step by step. I think that because little bit you deviate and you can distract a lot in critical reasoning. And I want you to be distracted. I don't want that you sit linear in the class and just keep listening to me. See here. So in critical reasoning, what happens? An argument is presented in front of you. Argument simple means facts and conclusion. So author will present. So what will happen? That author will present a bit of facts. So a bit of facts, not that's very wrong to say. Author will present facts, and based on that fact, author will present its conclusion to you. Conclusion is nothing but the final masses that is presented in front of you. I've told you very clearly role of a fact is what? There's only one role of a fact. Always remember, to support conclusion. Support conclusion. And you can just get to understand one more point. Ki facts are non-debatable. You can't debate on it. What is conclusion? This is final say of the author. I won't say final say, final masses of the author. How final masses of the author, that author is trying to give you based on the fact that he has presented to support his own opinion. Always remember, conclusion could be anywhere. It could be the last line, it could be the line in middle, it could be the first line. So you are solving any CR question except for inference. Your first job in any critical reasoning question is to identify conclusion. And it might take some time, but it's absolutely fine. You're not supposed to be walked up. Identify conclusion. Agreed? Now, based on the critical reasoning, based on argument presented here, there are different types of a question that could be asked in critical reasoning. Different types of a question that could be asked in critical reasoning. Now, what are those questions? The first one is assumptions. We'll come to this. Now we'll start the actual discussion of CR. Whatever we were doing till now, it's all just to make you understand what the critical reasoning is all about. Assumptions. Second is evaluate. Third is strengthen. Fourth is weaken. Fifth is flaw. Sixth is passes completion. These are the types of a question. I'll explain. I will discuss every type in detail. Sixth is your paradox. Then eighth is your boldface. And then ninth is your inference. There's one more type of a question that is called conditional reasoning. But please understand, conditional reasoning is not a type of a question. Usually, conditional reasoning is all asked in inference. 90% of conditional reasoning questions are asked in inference. So these are the types of a question that we'll be discussing in critical reasoning. That is assumptions, evaluate, strengthen, weaken, flaw, passes completion, paradox, boldface, inference. I promise you one thing, that if you people are good in assumptions and evaluate, and I'll be giving you a good amount of time. It will be today's class. I'll start assumptions. I'll carry on in the next class, half evaluate, assumptions and evaluate in the next class. And then in third class, I'll still be carrying, third week, I'll still be carrying evaluate with you. So I'm telling you right today in the first class, you are getting almost 21 days for assumptions and evaluate. And I think this is the time when you should improve. I promise you one thing, if assumptions and evaluate you are good at, if you are good at this, you will be good, but you will be by default good in all the other types of a CR questions except for inference. Inference will not happen by default. It's a very different question, very different type of a question. So if you are good in assumptions and evaluate, I promise to you, you will be by default good in all these sections, all the different type of a critical reasoning questions. This is my hard belief for sure. And this has worked for a lot of people. And I'm telling you, we are giving almost 21 days to assumptions and evaluate starting from today. I'm not even counting the 1 week before ka homework that I've given to all of you. Starting from today, 21 days will be given to assumptions and evaluate. And I expect that these two topics, if you are good at, you are good in entire CR. And if you're good in entire CR, RC by default is taken care of. You don't have to worry about RC, I'm telling you, because we'll get into so deep thought process in CR itself that RC will be very easy for you to handle it if you understand the RC passes. And obviously, a lot you will understand RC passes. Why not? So these are the two very important topics. So what we are starting today is an assumptions topic. Let's start assumptions. Right now, we'll be starting actual CR now. Till now, what I was giving was all philosophies to make you understand what critical reasoning as a wholesome means. So should we start assumptions today? Should we not? We are starting for sure. So we are starting with the first topic of critical reasoning, that is an assumptions. Please ask as many doubts as you wish. Do not be silent at all. Ensure that you are logically very clear so that when you are solving a question, that should not create a problem over there. Conceptually, there should be no problem. Problem might come that you might have some different understanding and all, but conceptually, there should be no problem. So before we get to start, let's say assumptions. A lot of you have already used the word assumptions in your answer. Can I understand what is the definition of assumptions? What do you mean by assumptions? Anyone? A lot of you have used the word assumptions while you were answering some questions and all. Please define what an assumption means.
Assumption is
Belief.
unstated.
Unstated?
Unstated
Unstated,
fact.
I believe.
Okay. Anyone else?
It's like unstated fact that author uses to derive that conclusion.
That order? What another?
The author uses to derive to that conclusion, like arrive at that conclusion. He thinks of something which is not stated in the passage. That
Okay.
is the assumption.
Perfect. Anyone
Um,
else? Yes,
our
Shraddha.
point of view.
Your point of view, nahin. Your point of view doesn't matter in verbal of GMAT.
Does it mean to imply something as the truth?
What, Rajat?
Does assumption mean something that is implied as truth?
Yeah, for sure. 100%. Right. Could be one of the definition. Bhavna, yes, you were speaking something.
Yeah, I would I would put in this way that if when author gives a passage,
Hmm.
if it is an argument kind of passage, the
It's not an
assumption
argument kind of
becomes
passage. It's an argument only.
yeah, it,
Can't hear you, Bhavna. Mashira,
um,
you, Raghav. Can't hear you, Bhavna. There's some break in the voice.
Assumption is something that is, accepted to be true.
thing.
What, Masira?
I was thinking that assumption is considered something has to be true, but is not stated in the argument.
That's beautiful. Raghav, you're trying to say something.
No, I think for what I was thinking on assumption, it's like an opinion that you have.
No opinion. Oh my God, no. Don't use word
No?
opinion. No. Opinion is 100% wrong word here.
Okay.
Opinion is conclusion, man. But no ways, no issues, no issues. Please speak whatever you wish. Only then I can counter you. Yeah, anyone else is speaking? Yeah, Shimanka.
Yeah,
go.
Rahul, I think assumption is something that you agree without any like proof or something.
No, not like that.
Okay.
Matlab 100% you always agree with assumption there, but this could not be the definition technically. So assumption simple means, guys, hidden fact. That's it, two-line definition. Hidden facts. When I say hidden facts, it means what? It is not stated in the passage. Not stated in the passage. I'll take some very small example and then we'll come to the question. You see, now please understand every bit by bit. Any problem, just let me know. Not stated in the passage. So assumptions are hidden facts. Hidden means not stated in the facts. But if I say hidden facts, what is that? What right now, what I've told you the role of a fact? Everything is interlinked. I'm
For the
telling you. What I've
conclusion.
explained you role of the fact to support
To support
Facts
conclusion,
are
right, Masira?
100% true.
And support conclusion, right, Masira?
Yeah.
So assumptions 100% supports conclusion. Now I'll get into more detail. Supports conclusion. Every word is interlinked to each other, and if you confuse with the wordings and all, it will be a humongous problem. So assumptions means hidden facts. I have just told you role of a fact while explaining the CR argument. Ki what is the role of a fact? To support conclusion. So when I say assumptions is a hidden facts, facts means what? It should support conclusion. That's it. Now, what exactly you mean by this hidden fact? Hidden fact means something that's taken for granted. Something that's taken for granted. Now, what do you mean by this? Now, imagine I just told you, let me give you some other example. Imagine everyone above 18 years can vote. Let's say so Masira can vote, whatever. Masira can vote. What is an assumption over here?
Masira is
Everyone above 18
18.
years can vote, so Masira can vote. What is an assumption?
Masira is above 18.
Right? Mashira is above 18, right? Now please understand here. Masira is above 18. Understand here, is this a statement mentioned to you in the argument? No, right? This is taken by default. This is taken into consideration by default. Am I right? Taken into consideration by default. It need not be stated in the passage. When the statement is written, everyone above 18 years can vote. So Masira can vote. It by default means Mashira is above 18 years. And this is unstated in the argument given to you. When I say everyone above 18 years can vote, this is a fact. And so Mazira can vote. This is a conclusion. So this is an argument given to you. And Masira is above 18 years is not stated in the argument, but it is taken by default into consideration. Or is if you do not take this assumptions into consideration, then our conclusion is faulty at all. Our conclusion is faulty now. So when you write a statement, everyone above 18 years can vote, so Masira can vote. It by default means that Masira is above 18 years and it need not be stated in the passage. So this is an assumption. So please understand, assumptions are also the backbone of an argument. Backbone of an argument. Without assumptions, an argument is not complete. Only imagine everyone above 18 years can vote. I'm giving a very small example. I'll come down to the questions right now. I'm giving a small example. Everyone above 18 years can vote, so Mazira can vote. Now, if you do not consider that Mazira is above 18 years, so if we don't consider, it means our argument is flawed. If argument is true, then this should be considered by default, which is not stated in the passage. So, like, let's say I've given you example that Bhavna is above 8. Bhavna is a good girl, and she would get in Harvard. I'll come down to all the factual words and conclusive words only when I do the questions with you. If I simply write the words over here, it will be a lot of confusion. So Bhavna is a good girl. She would get in Harvard. Tell me assumptions over here. What is the assumptions? Please tell.
Only good girls get into Harvard.
Yeah. Or I can say all good girls get into Harvard. Actually, the actual assumptions would be ki, being a good girl guarantees you a seat into Harvard, but I'm not writing being a good girl. I'm just writing all good girls get into Harvard. This is the assumptions over here. All good girls gets in Harvard.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes, Bhumi.
Can Harvard only accept good girls be an assumption as well?
Nay, Harvard only accept good girl is a different thing again, all in all. It's saying that being a good girl is one of the consideration that you will get into Harvard. It might be something else as well. So I can't assume anything about Harvard because I have no information about Harvard right here, Bhumi.
Okay.
I cannot say that Harvard accepts only good girls. No, that is wrong. All good girls get into Harvard, or being a good girl is one of the criteria for you to get into Harvard. But anything about Harvard is not that we are trying to assume at all. Agreed?
Okay.
So the simple assumption is all good girls get into Harvard. Now imagine when this argument is written in front of you, you will 100% say, Rahul, what the vague argument is this? But I've told you what, you should respect the argument. 100% respect the argument that's there presented to you in the CR. Do not challenge it at all. Don't start saying that Bhavna is a good girl, she would get into Harvard. Don't have a bit of thought process ki how vague it is. It is not your job to think at all how vague it is. This argument is presented in front of you, scenario is given to you, solve the question. That's it. Do not bring any knowledge from your end. So when I say Bhavna is a good girl, this is fact. This is conclusion. If this is not true, then entire argument is faulty now. Now you read Bhavna is a good girl, all good girls get into Harvard, and that's the reason she would get into Harvard. Now this argument makes a perfect sense. Am I being understood? Yes or no? Anyone who is not trying to connect, please tell. Vaibhav, something that needs to be true, no matter what for the conclusion, no matter what for the, absolutely beautiful. 100% true for conclusion to hold, because we are not trying in assumptions questions, we are not trying to challenge conclusion. Assumptions means support conclusion. So Bhavna is a good girl. This is fact. She would get into Harvard is a conclusion. My simple assumption is all good girls get into Harvard. And this assumption itself is a strengthening option also. I'll come down to it. Once when you are trying to say is the university toppers, is this, is that, those things are not something which will strengthen the, I'll come down to those points. I don't want to confuse you. Is this clear? Anyone has any doubt over here? Please tell me. Now the next questions come. How do you attempt a assumptions problem? How do you attempt assumptions question? Guys, remember, this is not my method. The entire world follows this method, and I'll prove why this is true. Please ensure do not follow any other method. This is the only method followed in the entire world. You slip out from this method and it will be a problem for sure. So how do you attempt a assumptions question? So step number one, like in any critical reasoning question, is to identify conclusion. If you are in position to identify conclusion, I promise 80%, 70 to 80% of a CR question is done. If you are in a position to identify conclusion, so please ensure any question, any critical reasoning questions you are solving, and if you are not able to identify the conclusion, you go to the question, it's a disaster. A lot of time it happened that people solve 200, 300 questions of CR, and they feel that I'm conceptually very clear. They start taking things for granted, that they read the argument, they feel that argument is well understood. They have no idea what the conclusion is. They have not even thought about what the conclusion. They read the argument, they feel that argument is well understood, get into the question. Moment you do this, you are at a very risk of solving it wrong. Your job is always to ensure that when you read the argument, your first job is to identify conclusion. If you cannot identify, read argument again. That's absolutely fine. And I'll tell you how should you identify conclusion, because always ensure that facts leads to conclusion. Fact leads to conclusion. If you're trying to read something, ki Rahul is a good boy and that's why he will get into Harvard Business School. So just do a therefore test. Put fact according to you, whatever fact is that Rahul is a good guy, he's a university topper, therefore he will get into Harvard Business School. Makes sense. But when you say Rahul will get into Harvard Business School and therefore Rahul is good guy, this makes no sense at all, right? Agreed? So step one is to identify conclusion. This will happen slowly. All of things cannot happen in one shot. It will take its time. When we do questions, all these things I'll make very clear. Step one, identify conclusion. Am I 100% right? Any problem over here? Step two. Now, this is the place where you people will go mad. Negate the answer choices. What do you mean by this? I'll explain. Just give me 2 minutes. Negate the answer choices. And in step three, whichever negated choices weakens the conclusion. Whichever negated choice weakens conclusion, that is your answer. Now, what the hell you mean? Now you can tell ki Rahul, what the hell? Till now you gave all those theories, all those sorts of a theory and logic that assumptions always and always supports conclusion. Why should I weaken the conclusion, right? Tell me. Is this understood? Yes or no?
Yes.
Identify conclusion, negate the answer choices, whichever negated choices weakens the conclusion. Till now, I have all told you that assumptions are the backbone of an argument. Hidden facts. Facts means to support conclusion. So assumptions by default supports conclusion. Now, what the hell are you doing, Rahul? That why should I negate it and I should weaken the conclusion? Why? You can 100% ask me, why can't I choose an answer that directly supports the conclusion? Can you ask me this question now? Why
Yeah.
can't I choose answer that directly supports the conclusion? Am I right? This is one question that you can 100% ask me. Agreed? Yes or no? Why can't I choose the answer that 100% supports the conclusion? Why the hell should I do this, Rahul? Just you told ki assumptions are hidden fact, fact support conclusion, assumption supports conclusion. You just gave me a logic that assumptions are the backbone of an argument, and then again you are asking me to negate the answer choice and see whichever negative choice weakens the conclusion. After all, there is a very evident question ki why can't I choose the answer that directly supports the conclusion? Am I right? Now imagine I'm writing again the same argument to make you understand what this method is. Please ensure it does not at all matter that you take more time, you take less time. This is the only method you should follow for assumptions. Anything else you are doing, no one is responsible then. Now see here, I'm writing the same argument again. Bhavna is a good girl. And she would get in Harvard. Get in HBS. Now I'm writing the answer choices. All good girls get into Harvard. This is the first answer. All good girls gets in Harvard. Bhavna is a university topper. Second option. I'm writing all those which we people have told now to support the conclusion. I'm writing everything. Bhavna is a university topper. She is a gold medalist. Bhavna is a gold medalist. And fourth, fifth, whatever thing can be written. Now the question is asked, the argument is presented in front of you. Bhavna is a good girl. and she would get into Harvard. What is your first step? Identify conclusion. Now I'm identifying conclusion that she would get in Harvard. This is my conclusion. Am I 100% right? Yes or no? Tell me. Agreed?
Yes.
And the second step says negate the answer choices. Negate means, what do you mean by negate, by the way? Imagine Rahul is a good boy or Rahul is a good guy. What is the negation of this statement?
Rahul is not a good guy.
Rahul is not a good guy. You can never negate it by saying that Rahul is a bad guy. Please understand, when you say Rahul is a good guy, and if you have to negate this, ensure the negate means put a not at a place where the entire meaning reverses. The negation would be Rahul is not a good guy. Just put a not over here. That's it. This is the negation. The negation doesn't mean you change any wordings that Rahul is a good guy. You negate it by saying Rahul is a bad guy. No. There might be a time happens where a big clause is written, like there is a sentence which might have 3 clauses, let's say. And then again, you have to negate. Always remember, negation simple means put a not at a place where the entire meaning of the sentence reverses. In terms of a sentence has more than 2 clauses, 3 clauses, look for what is the main subject and main verb. Put not beside the verb. That's it. So when I say Rahul is not a good guy, so there is a very wide scope open to it. It means that Rahul could be one of the most brilliant guy you have ever met in your life, and Rahul could be one of the most dumbest guy you have ever met in your life. So when you say Rahul is not a good guy, the scope is wide open. You cannot negate saying that Rahul is a bad guy. So step number 2 is negate the answer choices. My first step was to get the conclusion. I've got the conclusion that he would get into Harvard. Step number 2 says negate the answer choices. All good girls does not get into Harvard. Tell me, if I say all good girl does not get into Harvard, am I trying to weaken my conclusion? Yes or no? Because when you say
No.
Bhavna is a good girl and she would get into Harvard, and I'm trying to negate the statement all good girl does not get into Harvard. It is one, and then 100% it is trying to challenge the conclusion. Now, how can she go get into Harvard, right? Yes or not?
Yes.
Yes.
Now come down to this. Bhavna is not a university topper. Tell me, is it weakening your conclusion by any chance? You don't have to be a university topper to get into Harvard, dude. Bhavna is not a gold medalist. By any chance, is this weakening a conclusion? Are these 2 options has got any bearing with the conclusion if you negate it?
No.
You don't have to be a university topper to get into Harvard. You don't have to be a gold medalist to get into Harvard. Mashira, are things being clear? Raghav, are things being clear?
Yeah.
Anudeep, any problem here? Because now I'm going to the question, guys.
No.
Now you be very clear with these stuffs, because these things I can keep teaching you and you can keep loving it a lot. But the point is that we have to solve questions now. Anyone who has a problem over here, tell me. Bhumi, is this clear? Bhavna, any problem here? Gopal, any problem?
No, I'm good.
Vaibhav, any problem?
No, no, Rahul.
Atharv, I think you joined late, dude. I'm so sorry, man. You will have to see the videos. Perfect. Now see here, the reason
Uh,
behind this is,
Rahul, just one question.
yes, Raghav.
So here the reason why point 2 and 3 are also we are not taking is because this is just talking about Bhavna. It's not
This is talking
mentioned.
about Bhavna, and the point is that if you have this understanding, it's a beautiful thing, Raghav. But if you don't have this understanding, then just follow the process. No, Bhavna is not a university topper. Has it to do anything bearing with the conclusion? Think about it.
Yeah. So these 2 points are not talking about what the conclusion is saying. It's
Absolutely. It is
just
talking
talking.
about Bhavna. And we are not supposed to bring extra talks about Bhavna. Those things are something that you have logically understood. If you have these understanding, you will not look into option number 2 and 3 at all. But in case, even if that's not understood, Raghav, this is no way trying to weaken the conclusion. Am I right?
Correct.
So all I'm trying to say, you guys, ki right now, why we follow this method? Why we follow this method? Because I've just told you, loud shouting from last 1 hour, 1.5 hour, that assumptions are hidden facts. Facts always supports conclusion. So assumptions 100% supports conclusion. Assumptions are the backbone of an argument. But please ensure, while you are solving the question, this is the step that should be followed. If at all you try and choose the option that directly supports the conclusion, you might end up choosing all these options. There are a lot of third party information that might be given to you in the question, which will be trying to support the conclusion for sure. So in case if you directly go ahead with the process that Rahul, this is assumption question. Let me choose an answer that supports the conclusion because I know assumptions always and always supports conclusion. If you follow that, you might end up choosing all these answers because he's a university topper, he's a gold medalist, and this has got no bearing with the argument at all. So ensure that do not directly choose a option that 100% strengthen the conclusion. You might end up getting everything wrong. This is one method that you have to follow. You will have to identify conclusion. You will have to negate the answer choices. I can come tomorrow. You will keep crying, coming to me. "Ki, Rahul, it's taking a lot of time to negate it and then see which is weakening the conclusion or not. Let it take time. It doesn't matter at all. Subconsciously, next 15 days it will have happen. I'm very sure about it. But follow this. And this is not my method. You go and ask in GMAT club, you write any questions of assumptions, they 100% solve by negating its stuff. Nothing by them, not by supporting anything. But let's now, is this 100% sure? Is this understood very well? Now, let's not be into all these small examples and you keep understanding and I keep making you happy. No, let's solve some real questions now. Don't go mad about it. Take your own time. Take your own time. I'll 100% relate to what I've taught you. Exactly. But you can, a lot of you might have not done this homework. That's absolutely fine. I'm giving you 3 to 4 minutes to solve this question. It's 11:45 now. I'll 11:46. I'll speak at 11:50. Please take your time, take your sweet time, read this, mark your answer. Mark any answer, doesn't matter. But ensure in questions, please keep discussing with me. If you do not discuss, I'm not responsible, guys. I myself is telling you to discuss with me. Question number one, 3 4 minutes. I'm speaking at 11:50 now. Please try. Mark one answer, Raghav. Don't be stuck. Let it be wrong, right? Doesn't matter at all. Just one option you mark. Don't say stuck between this and this. Atharv again, please. Try again. Mashira, try again. Simankran, try again. Perfect, Atharv. Yeah. You can assume oil is equal to gasoline. No issues at all. Sorry again. Anudeep again. Perfect, Anudeep. It's extremely important to understand why the right answer is right and why the wrong answers are wrong. In critical reasoning, if you are back of only right answers, you can never ever have a 100% accuracy. I can promise that to you. You should have a very clear understanding why some things are wrong. One last 1 minute, guys. Please mark up your answers. Anuradha again. Shimankran again. Perfect. Let's have an understanding to it. Now you can discuss as much as you wish. Please discuss 4 5 questions very properly. Speak whatever you wish. It doesn't matter at all. But you should understand it very well. So see here, our first job is to find the conclusion. Don't you feel the last line itself is the conclusion? Anyone who feels that last line is not the conclusion, I'll read the entire argument. I promise I'll read in every topic 5 to 6 argument. Tell me, is this the last line is the conclusion? Anyone has any doubt over this? Anyone? Right? Perfect. Let's read it now. So now ensure that I'll just give you one hint. I should give or not. I can. Chalo, no issues. Please understand, factual words are, these are usually factual word. Is, are, has, have, this program has proved to be something, or this research has shown something. These are all factual word. Conclusive words are most of the time. See, a lot of time, even a factual word can be used as a conclusion. But usually it is not. Like, let's say I say Bhavna is a good girl and that's the reason she has got in Harvard. And that's the reason she has got in Harvard means she has got it. But still that's the conclusion for sure. But usually conclusions are always, conclusion can be identified into two things. First is futuristic base. Will, could, would, should, all these things. And it could be feeling based also. Conclusion can also be feeling based. Feeling is what? Your agreement, your disagreement. These are all feeling based conclusion. Imagine when I say you ki, I claim to be the world best GMAT teacher. All of you will start shouting, what the hell are you speaking, Rahul? So claim, when I say ki I claim to be the world best GMAT teacher, you can straight away question my claim. So claim is again a conclusive word. These are all feeling based conclusion. You agree with something. You might agree with something, but I would disagree with something. I would disagree with the same thing. So feeling, your agreement, your disagreement is most of the time conclusion. That's called feeling based conclusion. And there is something called which is futuristic based, where will sell. So usually conclusions are always talked into these words. There'll be always would, could, should, something and all. But let's see over here in this question, you are lucky enough to have a conclusion right in the question itself. Read question very properly. Very properly. Which of the following must be assumed in order to conclude that country B will succeed in its plan? What was the plan? That oil plus ethanol will be sufficient to meet the current demand. That was the normal plan. So in this question, they have given you conclusion right in the question itself. So that's absolutely fine. Now let's read out the argument. It says country B oil production is not sufficient to meet the current demand. This is fact, yes or no? Is this fact?
Yes.
And what can you infer from this particular fact? Now, please understand what's the difference between inference and assumptions. I'll come to this point now. But what can you infer from this fact? Infer means what is your understanding? So when you read the first line, what is your understanding from the first statement? That country B oil production is not sufficient to meet the current demand. Tell. What is your understanding from here? Understanding in terms of a CR language, I can ask you, what do you infer from here?
The supply level is low.
Yeah, that's true. Anything else?
The production is not sufficient.
Production is not sufficient. That's beautiful. But if production is not sufficient, what you need to do? You will have to import the oil, right? Imagine I said you that let's say Raghav started preparing. One second. Guys, the point is you cannot understand CR in one particular in a linear way. There has to be a lot of distraction for you to understand. Raghav started preparing for GMAT from Jan 2024. What could be the inference to this statement? How can you infer to this statement?
Maybe he has not started before 2024 Jan.
Yeah. Anyone else? Anyone else? Please speak up. Whatever you wish. No issues at all. Speak or else I'm not going ahead. Bhavna, what the inference? What inference can you draw from here?
He
Mas-
started admission for GMAT from the given date.
So this is already given to you. I'm asking you to infer it. Bhumi, Mashira, what is your this? How can you
Raghav
infer?
doesn't have any previous experience for GMAT preparation.
Raghav doesn't have any previous experience. Yeah, to some extent, right? Anyone else?
He's still preparing for GMAT.
No.
Or is it that he is planning to do MBA in future?
No.
Okay.
Anything? Anyone else? Raghav, tell. Shalak,
He wants
Vaibhav.
to be ready to write GMAT at the given date.
No. Shalak,
Maybe Raghav will give the exam this year.
no. Venkat, no. Vaibhav. So it's
Okay.
simple. The inference to this is please ensure inference questions are tough. I've kept it to the last. And understand inference and assumptions are two very separate things. Inference means your understanding. Your understanding means reading between the lines. And assumptions are unstated fact. So do not combine all these things. And that's the reason I ask you to speak so that when you speak, I can counter question you. When you speak use some wrong words. I promise if your CR is good, no, you will have some very different confidence in verbal. I can tell you one thing. You will try to analyze everything in your life, what is happening, how it is happening. Wordings plays a humongous role in your in your thought process, to be very frank. Yes, Gopal.
I mean, can you say the inference has to be 100% true based on
No,
the
you
given
can tell you
argument?
based on true, 100% true for sure. But that is nothing but your understanding. Your understanding should not differ even by 0.01%. 100% true for sure. You can say that. Based on this given statement, your inference will be 100% true. 100% you can say that, Gopal. So for this statement, the inference is Raghav never prepared for GMAT before Jan 2024. The inference cannot be कि Raghav is preparing to get 790 score and is preparing to get Harvard Business School or is still preparing. He will take 10 months to prepare. These are all nonsense stuff. The actual understanding from this here, because you as an individual don't know this entity at all. You don't know for how many long when you can tell he is preparing from last 9 months, but he can come and tell no, I've not, I've just studied first month and then I didn't study till date. So inference is always attacked from the verb part. Raghav started preparing. Inference is usually, but these are the things which you will understand very slowly and gradually, guys. One thing, so much of information will make you mad. So this means that Raghav started preparing for GMAT from Jan 2024. It's simple. Inference to this statement he has never prepared before for GMAT for Jan 2024. He might have prepared. You might be, your friend might be Raghav, you know him. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter to me at all. He might have prepared and all. But the statement that's mentioned over here that he started, it means that he has never prepared before Jan 2024. This is the only one inference that can be made out. So I just wanted to tell you the difference between inference and assumption. So don't confuse with these things. When you use word inference, when you used word assumptions, there should be a proper backup to it, ki what exactly you are trying to do. So when I read the first line of the argument, country B oil production is not sufficient to meet its current demand. Can I say ki country B need to import the oil? For sure. Because imagine Pakistan as a economy right now, they don't have money to get the oil imported. Every day and night inflation is growing like mad. Sri Lanka during the COVID time was completely spoiled. Why? Because they don't had money to buy the oil. So it's absolutely fine to infer that country B oil production is not sufficient. It means production is getting high for sure. But what is the final result? That they will have to import the oil. If they don't import the oil, the entire country will crash. Agreed? So they say country B oil production is not sufficient to meet its current demand. 100% of fact. And what I can infer from here is that they will have to import the oil. Now see here. In order to sharply reduce its dependence on foreign source of oil, country B recently embarked on a program requiring all its automobile to run on ethanol in addition to gasoline. 100% a fact, or anyone who feels that this is not a fact, please tell so that we can discuss. Anyone who feels the second line is not a fact, we can discuss. So the first line they say ki they don't have sufficient domestic Country B oil production is not sufficient to meet its domestic demand. That's the reason they had to import the oil. Now what they are trying to say in the second line, that they want to reduce the import. And how they want to reduce the import? They have given a very subtle way, that is some alternate source of fuel, that is ethanol. That's found in their country. See here. In order to sharply reduce the dependence on the foreign source of oil, country B recently embarked on a program requiring all its automobile to run on ethanol in addition to gasoline. It means that they might have ethanol. They have found ethanol. Now they are trying to say that we'll use ethanol plus gasoline. If you listen to Gadkari's speech, you will exactly get to understand what is ethanol. If Nitin Gadkari gives a speech of half an hour, he'll use ethanol word more than 100 times on that. So, but you don't have to understand, even if you do not understand how ethanol is used with the gasoline and how ethanol is used with the oil, it's absolutely acceptable. I'm doing it with a very literal understanding of what I read in the argument. I'm not using my understanding over here. So is this clear? That they first wanted to import the oil because there was a huge, their oil's demand was not sufficient. Now they wanted to reduce the import. How they are reducing the import? They have got some alternate source of fuel called ethanol. And now based on that, they are trying to say here, combined with its oil production, country B produces enough ethanol from agriculture byproduct to meet. Now please understand, do not get confused. The whole point is that when you read the sentence, there should be a very clear understanding of what you are reading. Now when I say country B produces enough ethanol, this is completely what? Absolutely useless thing. This is just given to deceive you, to confuse you, to go mad about where the ethanol is coming from. You don't need to know. They have just told you that there is an alternate source of fuel, ethanol. And now they are making a conclusion that combined with oil production, country B produces enough ethanol to meet its current demand for energy. Now they are straight away trying to conclude that oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. Am I right? Yes or no? Tell me. So the point is you have to remove all the sorts of non-essential part in the sentence to have a complete understanding of the sentence. A lot of people question me, "Ki Rahul, I don't understand what the hell it means ethanol from agriculture byproduct." They are just trying to give you a reason from where ethanol comes up. That's it. That's all. It's all about you have to understand what is the main subject of the sentence. Like imagine it says, the pen on the table is beautiful. Pen on the table is costly. So what is the core part of the sentence? Pen is costly, on the table is stupidity. This does not need to be read out. This is what called, if you note grammatical term, this is called prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase are just to deceive you. There is nothing. The actual core part of the sentence is pen is beautiful, pen is costly. Not pen on the table or pen in the table. So remove the prepositional phrase and you will have an exact understanding of it. So now you see, is the argument understood to everyone? Anyone, any problem here? Please tell. Any problem? Perfect. Now let's come down to the answer choices. Which of the following must be assumed in order to conclude that country B will succeed in its plan to reduce the dependence on foreign oil? So first option says electric power. Tell me one thing. Is electric power discussed in the argument? Yes or no?
No.
So I just see electric power. I don't have to negate this statement. I don't have to do anything. I can just disqualify this. It's stupidity. This out of scope answer. Electric power is not superior alternative to ethanol. It is none of my business at all. Whether it is superior or it is not superior, it is not our business. The point is, electric power is not discussed in the argument. Argument discusses only two things, oil and ethanol. Why should I even think about electric power? Am I right? So you don't have to negate this statement as well. So please understand in assumptions, 2 or 3 options can be straight away rejected. Now come down to a lot of you have marked answer B as well. So it says country B, domestic production of ethanol is increasing more quickly than domestic oil production. Let's try to negate this. In country B, domestic production of ethanol is not increasing more quickly than domestic oil production. Right? This is the negation, or do you feel anything else is the negation? Please tell. In country B, domestic production of ethanol is not increasing more quickly than domestic oil production. Now tell me, first of all, I'm so sorry, but what can I do? Now, these are the demands of the question I have to explain you. But there are a lot of things that needs to be taken care of, and these are the things that will not happen, that I can't teach you separately. You have to ensure that these things should be. Tell what is the word meaning more? More is a non-quantifiable word. Non-quantifiable word. What do you mean by this? Imagine yeah. Tell me, Gopal.
So I think the more is like even 1 unit more is more and 100 unit more
Yeah,
is
you
more.
can't
So
quantify. Like imagine I say I have more money than you. You might have 1 rupees. I have 2 rupees. I have more money than you. I have 200 rupees. I have more money than you. I have 2000 rupees. I have more money than you. I have 2 lakh rupees. I have more money than you. I have 2 million rupees. I have more money than you. So more is a non-quantifiable word. So it says domestic production of ethanol is not increasing more quickly than domestic oil production. It means it says that domestic production of ethanol is not increasing more quickly than domestic oil production. It might happen the production of oil is 1,000 barrel per day and ethanol production is 999 barrel per day. And despite that, I can say ethanol production is not increasing more quickly than oil production. Ethanol production could be 90 barrel also per day. And despite that, I can say ethanol production is not increasing more quickly than oil production. But please understand, I'm just trying to say, what is my conclusion? Conclusion is that oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. Why the hell I should be bothered about the production of oil is more or ethanol is more? I'm not bothered about individual entity oil and ethanol. As per the argument, my conclusion is what? Oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. Let's say ethanol production is not increasing more quickly than oil production, or let's say oil production is not increasing more quickly than ethanol production. How does that matter to me? I'm bothered about production of oil and ethanol both. So if I look into this statement is no way in any sense trying to weaken my conclusion. Am I right? Please tell me. Yes or no? Vaibhav, any question? Is this understood, Bhumi?
Yes.
Bhavna, Raghav, any problem here? Anudeep, is this clear? Shalak,
Is clear.
Mashira, any problem here? Perfect. So this is gone because it is not weakening my conclusion for sure. Now tell me, C and E, it will take me 2 seconds to remove this. It should not take you more than 2 seconds to eliminate this. What is there in the argument? Argument says that there were no sufficient oil, so they had to import the oil. Then they wanted to reduce the import. How they wanted to reduce the import? By introducing ethanol. Tell me, is there anything else discussed in the argument about ethanol?
No.
Nothing discussed, right? They have not discussed anything. They have said that there is an alternate source of fuel called ethanol. They have directly come down to the conclusion that oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. Am I making 100% sense? Yes or no? So what is ethanol suitable for and how efficient is ethanol is how is my business? This is none of my business at all. Argument does not talks about ethanol. Argument just says that ethanol was introduced. And after the introduction of ethanol, author has directly come down to the conclusion saying that oil plus ethanol is more than sufficient to meet the current demand. So what is ethanol suitable for? How efficient is ethanol is none of my business at all. Absolutely no business to me with respect to this argument and with respect to the conclusion. Imagine ethanol is not suit. Now imagine this is the logical understanding to remove CNE. This is an absolutely logical way to remove CNE. But if you want to go step by step, you can 100% go. Ethanol is not suitable for heating, or let's say ethanol is not as efficient as gasoline. How is it weakening my argument? My argument say oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. It does not talk how efficient ethanol is and what ethanol is suitable for. It just does not talk about it at all. So if you say ethanol is not suitable for, or ethanol is not as efficient as gasoline, how does it weaken my conclusion that oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand? You cannot say ethanol is not as efficient as gasoline, so it weakens, Rahul. How does it weaken? It is sufficient to meet the current demand. Let the mileage be less, more efficient be less, more. How does it matter to me? It does not matter to me because it is not given to me in the argument at all. That's the way it should be looked upon. Am I right? Any problem here? So option number C, even if you negate it and E, it's all over. It makes no sense at all. Now we are left with the last option D, and that's the right answer because one answer are right always. So you should have a absolute clear understanding of why the right answer is right and why the wrong answers are wrong. If this is not happening, please ensure it might take some time. You might be frustrated solving 30 to 40 questions. But if you get a habit of solving questions in this way, I promise there will never be any problem at all. Let's come down to option number D now. In country, gasoline consumption, I have to negate it. Always ensure that you should negate and it should weaken your conclusion. So negate means either you remove a not or you put a not. So that the entire meaning of sentence reverses. So I'm just trying to negate it. In country, gasoline consumption is increasing at substantially higher rate than domestic oil and ethanol production. Please ensure substantially is extreme word. Make a note of all these things. So they are trying to say gasoline consumption is increasing at substantially higher rate than domestic oil and ethanol production. Imagine if I say you consumption is increasing at a very substantial rate than production, what you will have to do? Tell me. If consumption is increasing at a very substantial rate than the production, then you will have to import the oil again. Yes or no? Tell.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So is it breaking my conclusion? My conclusion is what? Oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. This is my conclusion. It is sufficient to meet the current demand. But when I say consumption is increasing at a very substantial rate than the production, then how can you ensure that your conclusion will hold? Your conclusion does not hold now. When I say consumption is increasing at a very fast rate than production, then your conclusion will not hold. How it is sufficient to meet the current demand? You will have to ensure that you import the oil again. Am I right? So this is one statement which is 100% trying to challenge my answer if I negate it. Now guys, again, one more thing. One more thing and then again I'm not saying anything. Please ensure what I'm going to do now, at least for next 40 to 50 assumptions questions you should do it because you will not have so much of time to do things in the exam. But just for your understanding as to what the conceptually thing should be very clear to you. And then you solve as many questions as you wish, no issues at all. To now, please, what is our now the point is that when you have got the answer, this is just for a reverse checking that is this a right answer or not. Now you don't have to negate it at all. Now what we know, what is the concept of an assumption that it always supports conclusion, right? Yes or no? Tell.
Yes.
Yes.
Now your job is first read facts, and you can't do these things in exam. But please do it for next 30 to 40 questions you solve of assumptions in the home for sure. You will have a beautiful understanding. First read facts, now you read assumptions, and now you read conclusion. Now you don't have to negate it at all. Now you've already got the answer, you are trying to recheck your answer. Read facts, read assumptions, then read the conclusion, see that it is falling into same sink or not. Now I'm reading it, see here. In order to sharply reduce its dependence on foreign source of oil, country B recently embarked on a program requiring all its automobile to run on ethanol in addition to gasoline. Now, in country B, gasoline consumption is not increasing at substantially higher rate than domestic oil and ethanol production, and therefore, combined with its oil production, country B produces enough ethanol to meet its current demand for energy. Am I making a complete sense? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
100%, right? So please ensure, guys, one thing you have to be extremely sure about it. Please, and there is a different way to think, and you can use all these things at least for with 20 to 30 questions so that things are very clear to you. You understand what an assumption is, and then you solve as many questions as you wish. But ensure how many over questions you solve. The first thing, conclusion should be known to you. Remember that. Now imagine what we have checked this. Now there could be a different thought process. What is author trying to conclude? That oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet this is what the author is trying to make a conclusion now, that oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand. If author is trying to conclude this ki oil plus ethanol is sufficient to meet the current demand, it means 100% author will have assumed that consumption is not increasing than production. Author might have 100% assumed that consumptions in near future will not exceed the production, and therefore I can conclude that ethanol plus oil is sufficient to meet the current demand. Am I right? This is a bit mathematical one. I agree to it. But is this understood? Yes or no? The next question that we'll do is a purely literature question. Anyone, any doubt, any discussion? Masira, any discussion over here? Atharv, any discussion over here?
No.
Raghav, any discussion? Anudeep, any discussion over here?
No.
All clear? Or you want to discuss something? Bhumi, any discussion you want to do over here?
No, all clear.
Shaurya, any discussion? Shalak, any discussion?
No, no, clear.
Bro, you people are all child only. Until I don't tell name, you don't people respond.
All clear.
Perfect. Now let's come to a bit of
All clear,
literature
sir.
based question. Let's come to a bit of literature. Very interesting question. Again, I'm giving you 3 to 4 minutes. It's 11, 12, 15. I'll stop you at 12:20. Please take your time, mark your answer. Let me see. Beautiful question, but you'll have to explain me why something is right and why something is wrong. Let's solve at least 3, 4 questions so that you have an idea about what an assumption is. I know first day solving all these questions might be a bit frustrating, but don't get frustrated with CR, guys, please. You marking wrong answer is never a sort of a problem at all. But let's understand why it is wrong and why it is right. Anudeep again, please. Atharv again. Rajat again. Bhumi again. Vaibhav, you're right. Gopal, you're right. Atharv, fine. Shalak again. A lot of people have marked E. How can you mark E, Bhumi? No. Bhavna, fine. Good. Rajat again. Anudeep again. Mashira again. Shmankar again. A lot of you marked C. Let's discuss why C is the answer. Tell me what is the conclusion over here? Let's start the discussion. So it
The
says what? What
last line is the conclusion.
conclusion, right?
Yeah.
That
Increase in
since such an increase would cause alarming rise in the displacing. What is this displacing referring to? So I'm giving you a bit of like I just it's my duty to tell you ki how should you read so that things are very clear to you. Bhumi, wrong. What is this displacing referring to? Imagine I write a simple sentence, and these things are very important, guys, in terms of if you want to understand the meaning very properly. Imagine I'm writing a sentence. The bank crashed. The bank crashed, and it led a lot of people to lose money once, and it led a lot of people to lose money. Little bit of these things you should know so that your reading habit becomes very clear. Tell me, is this a right sentence or a wrong sentence? If it is right, why? Wrong, why? Tell, man, don't be silent. People have made it so silent, class. Tell, is this a right one or a wrong one? Masira, you are most humbly, respectfully requested to speak, man. Is this a right or wrong?
I think it should have some more information.
What more information, Rajat?
Uh, as into
This
how
this
the
is so clear information given to you, stupid. Check. The bank crashed and it led a lot of people to lose money. I'm just asking, is this a right statement or wrong statement? If right, why? If wrong, why? The minimum grammar I'll be telling you all so that it helps you in all the types of write-up. Because these you have to read the reading comprehension. So in reading comprehension, you should know what is referring to what, so that things are very clear to you. Atharv, why is this right or wrong? Bhumi, tell man. Somebody should say something, no? Only then I go ahead. Gopal, is this right or wrong? Shalak, tell.
Yeah, similarly, I also think needs more info. Banks crashed as in the market crash or the bank
The
went
bank crashed. Let's
bankrupt.
say the market crashed. It led a lot of people to lose money. Is this a right
Is
statement
it
or wrong?
because of the word it in it? Like, what is it referring to?
That's
That it
beautiful.
is.
So that's what I'm asking. Is this a right sentence or a wrong sentence? What is it referring to, by the way? Anyone?
To the bank
Discretion.
crashing.
Right.
It is pronoun, right?
Yeah.
And what is the definition of a pronoun? That it should refer to a noun. What is noun? Bank. So it refers to bank. So what is the meaning comes out from the sentence? The bank crashed and bank led a lot of people to lose money. Is this the right sentence? No. Bank didn't
Crash.
lead a people to lose money. It was a crash that led a people to lose money. The crash in bank that led a people to lose money. So, what happens over here is that this is a wrong statement. Please understand this is a cause and effect situation. In cause and effect situation, effect should always start with the ing form. That is called adverbial modifier. So bank crashed, comma, leading a lot of people to lose money. Leading a lot of people to lose money. So this leading is going back to the entire sentence. That it was a crash in bank which was responsible for a people to lose money, not a bank. Imagine if you write this statement and you are a CEO of a company, you will be fired just because of this statement, remember. You cannot write such a statement. Now there is a chat GPT that's I agree to it. No issues at all. But it should be, you should know it also. The bank crashed, comma, leading a lot of people to lose money. So leading is going back to the entire statement. It was a crash in bank that was responsible for a people to lose money. So यहाँ पे at this place such an increase would cause alarming rise in the sea level because there will be alarming rise in the sea level and that's the reason it lead millions of people by destroying major population center along the world coastal lines. Perfect. Now come down to let's come down to this now. The entire argument. Although there has been a great scientific debate for decades over globe, there has been a great scientific debate. It's a fact. Most scientists now agree that what I have told you prove that agree that these are all facts now. Most scientists now agree that human activity is causing earth temperature to rise. Now say though predictions vary, Many global warming experts believe that average global temperature will rise between 3 to 8 degree Fahrenheit during the next century. Now they have written, based on these facts, they have concluded that such an increase would cause alarming rise in the sea level, displacing millions of people by destroying major population center along the world coastal city. Let me come down to first option number C, because a lot of you have marked option number C. Option number C says rising sea level similarly affect all the coastal population center. Now let me negate it. Rising sea level does not similarly affect all the coastal population center. Imagine Mumbai is a height of 2.5 meter above the sea level. I don't know the exact units and all. I'm just imagining. South Africa is at a height of 2 point, let's say 3 meter above the sea level. Let's say New York is at the height of 2.75 meter or 2.7 meter above the sea level. Let's say sea level rose to 2.6 meter. Whether it is similarly affecting or dissimilarly affecting, but it is still affecting, yes or no? Tell me.
Yes.
It is still affecting? It is still affecting, and people will still will be displaced. So tell me how it is weakening my conclusion. Your job is to negate the answer choices and see it is weakening your conclusion, yes or no. So option number C says rising sea level does not similarly affect all the coastal population center. Let it similarly affect or let it not similarly affect. It does not matter at all, but still people are being displaced, yes or no. Here the display, if the sea level has rose to, let's say 2 point, how much? 5 meter. To South Africa is completely gone. Little part of Mumbai is gone. Maybe not New York. The coastal line may be gone. Whatever. So whether it is similarly affecting or dissimilarly affecting, it is still affecting, right? People will still be displaced. So when I negate this, my conclusion is not being weakened. So this is not the right answer. Am I right? Anyone any doubt over here? Please tell me. It is extremely important, guys, to understand why the right answer is right and why the wrong one is wrong. Very important. If you do not concentrate on why the wrong one is wrong, you cannot have a good seer. You cannot have a command in seer.
Rahul, here
Yes.
the conclusion says destroying major population centers along the world coastal lines. I mean, I understood it as like along all the coastal lines in the world. In all the coastal lines, major population will be destroyed. It's not like as an overall kind of thing. Rather, I
Yeah,
understood
major
that.
population. No, whatever your understanding is, your understanding maybe the whole population is destroyed or little bit of a population is destroyed or majority of the population is destroyed. My simple logic with option number C is ki whether the syllable is similarly affecting all the coastal population center or dissimilarly affecting all the coastal population center, right? But it is still affecting now.
Yeah, agree to that point. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is, at each coastal line, the impact is same. So that's what I understood from the sentence. Like when it
But
says destroying major.
but Anudeep, each coastal lines are not at the same height as the sea level, no? Like Mumbai
Yeah.
height would be very different to New York's height above the sea level and South Africa's height above the sea level.
Mhm.
Agreed?
Yeah.
So geography varies for sure. Masira, is it D? No, Mashira. Let's come down to D. Now I'll come down to D for sure. But I have seen a lot of people marking answer E also. Tell me why E is wrong. Anyone? Anyone? Please tell me. A lot of people have marked answer E as well. Tell me why E is wrong.
Because it was written most scientists, so not all scientists believe in human activity can be the sole reason. I mean, some scientists might believe something else.
So?
Yeah, so the question in the sentence, it is written most scientists, right? So that means most of them might believe, but there might be some few who might not believe it was.
No, Shimankar, no matter. See here. It's
And
written human activity is causing Earth's temperature to rise. What we have read about the basic definition of assumptions you are not following. Basic definition of assumptions are what? Hidden fact. Something that's not stated in the argument. This is stated in the argument, man. How can this be an assumption? Yes or no?
Yeah. Okay.
100% understood. This is something, this is a fact stated in the argument. It can never be your assumptions because assumptions by default means unstated fact. I don't have to even negate it and all. And point is, even if you negate it, imagine if this is a reasoning that you should understand, why not? But imagine even if you don't understand this reasoning, that it is a repetition of the fact given to you. Let's negate it now. Human activity is not the sole cause of increasing global temperature. Let human activity is the sole cause or it's not the sole cause. How are you weakening my conclusion? Tell me this. Because if you negate your conclusion should 100% be weakened. You're not
Okay.
able to, right?
Got it.
Can we say option E is an inference instead?
No, inference are also never stated in the passes, Atharv. Never ever. Inference is reading between the lines. People usually confuse in inference and assumptions a lot, but inference is reading between the lines. Assumptions are unstated facts. Agreed? So this is not an
Yes.
inference also, Atharv. Gone. Now let's come down to D. Why is D wrong? Give me one beautiful reasoning. There's a learning from option number D. Give me one reasoning as to why D is wrong. Don't negate and check with the, don't tell me, ki, Rahul, if I negate my conclusion is not being weakened. That is 100% true. That I'll prove it also. But give me a separate reasoning as to why D is wrong.
Conclusion
I
is not
think
actually talking about that.
Tell me one by one. Gopal, tell.
So my understanding is about the 8 degree, because we're not concerning about whether although we're saying the 8 degree or high, because it's already saying that 8 degree is threatening. So it is not
Okay.
necessary that it has to be higher than 8 degree.
Okay. Anyone else?
Because of the word predict, I think it should have been eliminated, or because it's giving you another type of conclusion, right?
No, you can't say that, stupid. No. But it says, see, mad. Check what I've told you, that never ever choose an answer. So you should always respect facts. Respect facts in argument. Facts are always and always respected. Respect fact simple means respect argument. When I say respect argument, when I say you respect fact, it means in your answer choice, guys, never ever choose an answer that supports the fact or challenges the fact. But slowly, gradually, also don't go mad about all these things. There are a lot of things to be told. If I tell you in one shot everything, it will be like all gone mad. Ki Rahul done. It won't happen. But slowly and gradually, these things will happen. So you can never choose an answer that supports the fact or that challenges the fact. What is my fact? That experts believe that average global temperature will rise between 3 to 8 degree Fahrenheit. This is stated to mean facts, right? What they are trying to say, some global warming expert predict a greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit. It means you are trying to challenge the fact now. So if you're trying to challenge the fact, the answer is straight away wrong. Masira, is this clear?
Yeah, now I get it.
So don't go mad at all, Mashira. These things will happen for sure. It will happen with a good number of questions, but until you don't go through all these things, you will never be good at CR. I'm telling you. It's very okay to take your time, to take your own sweet time. Solve 50 assumptions questions in almost every questions you take 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But when you are learning it, don't rush it up at all. Don't say, I will have to write exam in 1 month and I need to rush it up, then go on case. Then literature doesn't improve in this way. Now, and if at all, imagine that you were not able to come up with the answer and you were not able to eliminate the answer with this way, which you will be able to eliminate in some time. Then my job is what? To simple negate it and see if it is weakening my conclusion. If I negate it, some global warming expert greater than some global warming expert does not predict greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit. How does it matter whether they predict greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit or does not predict greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit? But it says if the temperature rises between 3 to 8 degree Fahrenheit, such an increase would cause alarming rise in the sea level. So whether the prediction is above 8 degree Fahrenheit or below 8 degree Fahrenheit. So when I negate this, some global warming experts does not predict a greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit in global temperature. But how does that matter to me? It is not, it has got no bearing with the conclusion. You are trying to some sort of a negate fact. It is a fact. If you negate it, then I can say again, this is nothing but a restatement of a fact. One sec. But sometime my pen goes mad. Some global warming does not predict a greater than 8 degree Fahrenheit. If this is the case, then it is nothing but a restatement of fact. It's already written in the fact that the temperature will rise between 3 to 8 degree Fahrenheit. And even if temperature rises between 3 to 8 degree Fahrenheit, they have given you conclusion will still hold. That such an increase will cause alarming rise in the sea level, displacing millions of people. So this is trying to do nothing. Shaurya, it is A. I'm coming down. Now obviously between A and B it will be A only, Shaurya. So C is gone. Now let's come down to B. Tell me a reason as to why B is wrong. This is a beautiful answer. Very beautiful, I can tell you. Now I'm negating this. Individual will become more aware of the steps they can take to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. A lot of you have marked B. Can you tell me how it is weakening? Don't bother about it's a right or wrong. But if you have marked answer B, what was the thought process? Tell. Please speak up. Don't worry about you will sound how you will sound. And don't ever mind my language, please. I can say you stupid and all. Don't worry about that. Please excuse me for that. Batao, why is B
We
wrong?
Aware,
got to know individuals and the characteristics, so we can't predict about that.
What, Masira, once more, please?
We do not know the individuals and the characteristics, so we can't say or
No, but
assume
it says
things
individual
about
will
them.
become more aware. No, but it says you are not supposed to predict. It actually is trying to say, if I negate it, Mashira, it's trying to say individual will become more aware of the steps they can take to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. So you
aware
are
and
not supposed to
acting,
predict. Yes, Anudip?
aware and actioning upon it is different.
Beautiful. So it's see here. Tell me, aren't you aware right now that global warming is going on? You leave this statement, leave this argument. Is global warming going on right now? Yes or no? Going on, right? Aren't you aware of the steps that you should take to reduce the emission to reduce the global warming? You are aware of the steps. Now, don't tell me, कि, Rahul, I'm taking a step that I don't use plastic. Except this step, anything else you are taking? No. So please understand, individual will become aware of the steps. You becoming aware of the steps and you actually taking steps are two different corner of the ocean. Not two different corner of the ocean, two different corner of the seven ocean. You actually taking steps are absolutely different, completely different. So individual will become more aware of the step they can take to reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Aren't we aware right now? Right now in the world, global warming is going on. The way Arctic is melting. In from last 10 years, the amount of Arctic that has melted has never happened in last 2000 years also. So there is a humongous global warming going on right now. And we are all aware of the steps that we should take. That you should not use your car, you should use your public transport. The mere minimum step that we should take. But we say we don't use plastic, but eventually all of us end up using plastic. So just don't say I don't use plastic, Rahul. I won't agree to that. So this is wrong. Because you being aware of the steps and the sea level will come down and major population will be saved, it is impossible. You can't weaken this. Right? Now let's come down to option number A. Let option number A be the answer. No issues at all. But can't I say it's a out of scope answer? Technological as a word is not used here. You have to give me a reason as to why A is the right answer. Because what we in option in question number one, if you see, we rejected option number one because electric power was there. Electric power is not superior. I'm giving you time and again a lot of hint. I'm showing you. Option number one, it says new technological development, which is not discussed in the passage. Why can't I say this is out of scope answer? Tell. Can't I say this is out of scope answer?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it seems so.
It seems so.
It
It
can be.
seems so because you are not looking into it properly. Stupid. See here. Electric power is what? Here it is a subject, right? If I remove electric power, the entire sentence flow up. Little bit of a grammar is required, and how much is required, I swear I'll tell you all. I ensure by the time you do reading comprehension, you will have no problem in reading stuff. That I promise it to you. But you'll have to give me some time and you'll have to focus on it. What is electric power in statement number one? Is this a subject? Imagine if I remove electric power, the entire sentence makes no sense. Is not a superior alternative to what is not a superior. So electric power is a subject. Here, tell me what it is. Technological is what? What is technological here? It's an
Can you say
adjective,
it's a
man.
modifier?
Yeah, it's a modifier. It's an adjective which is trying to modify development. So please understand adjectives are something that always imbalances nouns. Always. So if you remove adjective and read the sentence should be 100%. It should stand as it is. There'll be no distraction in the sentence. So imagine if I say Rajat has got in Harvard. Rajat has got in Harvard. American will never write a sentence this way. American will write very brilliant and very extravagant, comma, Rajat has got into Harvard. The core part of the sentence is still ki Rajat has got into Harvard. Very brilliant and very extravagant is nothing but is trying to modify Rajat. It is trying to make sentence much more beautiful. It is trying to give you some sort of a modifier. You know, this guy is a very brilliant guy. He's a very intelligent guy. Comma, Rajat has got into Harvard. So please understand, here technological is a big deceiving word put over here. You will see technological and you will straight away say it is out of scope answer. But understand, this is not even a noun. You read the entire sentence without technological word and see it is making a perfect sense or not. New developments in the next century will not divert rising sea from the world coastal cities. Is it making 100% perfect sense? Now,
Yeah.
this word was to deceive you. This is an adjective to development. It is not a noun. You cannot remove just because it is technologically written. So you can't say it is out of scope answer. This word is to just deceive you. The actual sentence is new developments in the next century will divert rising sea from the world coastal city. If it diverts rising sea from the world coastal city, displacement of people will not happen. It is straight away trying to challenge my conclusion. Yes or no? If I negate this statement, my conclusion is 100% being challenged. Am I right?
Yeah.
So this is the answer. Now, you have done everything. See, I'm taking a lot of time so that I want that you understand. You get into the dealings of it, and initially it takes time, guys. But when you start doing it, it'll be all fine. But you can't expect it to be fine within 1 day, 2 day. It will take around say 15 days minimum. Now you see, but please ensure when you are solving questions, solve in this way, the way I'm doing right now. Initially, take all your options, and what I'll do is that I'll create a WhatsApp group also next week. Jahan pe you people can keep putting problems because in entire group there is only a discussion of CR. It will be very beautiful one, I'm telling you. Now you see, I'm removing technological. Now I've told you what? That once you have marked up your answer, just recheck your answer and do it just for 30 to 40 questions. I'm not asking you to do these things in exam because in exam you will have no such times at all. You see that you have negated it, this answer is weakening, mark the answer, move on to other question. Now here to understand, read fact first, then read the assumptions, and then read the conclusion and see it is falling into same sink or not. So I'm reading now. See here. Many global warming experts believe that average global temperature will rise between 3 to 8 degrees Fahrenheit during the next century. New developments in the next century, 100% matching, right? New developments in the next century will not divert rising sea from the world coastal city, and therefore, such an increase would cause alarming rise in the sea level, displacing millions of people by destroying major population center. Am I right? So if author is writing a conclusion that such an increase would cause alarming rise in the sea level, displacing millions of people, author must have 100% assumed that there is no development which is going to happen in the near future which will not divert rising sea. And if rising seas are not diverted, then yes, population will go to hell. Is that making a perfect sense? Yes or no? Tell. Any discussion in this question now? Anyone, any discussion? Abhik? Abhik, where were you, man? You joined late or what?
Sorry, sir, I like got called out
Okay.
from office actually.
Atharv, Bhavna, Bhumi, any problem? Mashira, any problem? Hey guys, you speak, man. I'm speaking from so long, and you people are tired and just sitting by sitting. Shalak, any problem? Shaurya, any problem? Vaibhav,
No,
any
no
discussion,
problem.
sir?
No, right. No
Okay.
problem.
Then let's go to the next question, please. One more question and we'll stop. I know that it's getting too much for you all. Let me do this question and we'll see how much time it takes. It's a easy question, but please ensure read the everything is there in the question. Question is just 3 line, 3 words, but everything is given to you in the question. If you read question properly, marking answer in this question will not take you more than a minute. I promise that to you. Try. But read the entire argument and then read the question. And I'll also explain you the homework for maths class because I understand looking at the mail of maths homework, you people might have gone mad because there's so many PDF attached. There is no so many PDF attached. I'll just explain you after the class. So don't go mad about that at all. Mashira, this is the last question, Mashira, please. Let's not take the break. Please, please, please. Last question. After that, I'll stop because I want that you people is read and come and then we'll have a class. Atharv again. Mashira again. Anudeep, you're right. Gopal, you're right. Shaurya again, please. No, but that was your last answer, Shaurya. Perfect, perfect. A good profile and a decent GMAT score. What is this, Vaibhav? Whom you have messaged, man? You messaged me.
No, it was from the initial conversation. Yeah.
Okay.
Regarding the Bhavanas.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I think I'm looking above. Atharv again. Think Atharv why D is wrong. You leave why the right answer is right. Think why D is wrong. It's a beautiful answer. We'll discuss. For this question, though, I don't have to read the entire facts also, man. The question asks the claim of utility companies assumes which of the following. So, what is the claim? Claim is this: utility company claimed that they'll be able to provide a stable energy supplies to all their client. And what energy supplies they are talking about? Tell me. What energy supplies they
Renewable.
are talking about? They are talking
Wind
about
and solar power.
wind and solar power, right? Or anyone else, please let's be clear with this. Once read the argument again. If you have read it, it's well. Can I say in claim, whatever author is talking in the claim that they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients, are they talking about wind and solar power or they are talking about something else? Please tell me this.
They are talking about wind and solar power.
Yes. Anyone else who feel that it is not talking about wind and solar power? Mashira, Atharv, tell. Tell Atharv. Speak, man. Are they talking about wind and solar power or not? So here, in response to increasing cost of producing energy through traditional means such as combustion, many utility companies have begun investing in renewable energy source, cheaply wind and solar power, hoping someday to rely on them completely and thus lower the energy cost. The source requires significant initial capital investment. They have told you that this source require these source means what source? This is going to wind and solar power because solar power two subjects joined by and are always plural form. So this is going back to wind and solar power. These sources requires initial capital investment, but contrast word. So there's a lot of wording. There's a lot of wording issue. I want to explain you, but if I explain you now, you people will go mad. Slowly and gradually, we'll do this. But the operating costs are not so high. They are saying that there is an initial significant capital required, but the operating costs are not high. So the utility company claims that they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy, stable energy supplies to all their clients. So stable energy supply, it means very clearly they are talking only about wind and solar power, not about the non-renewable resource. As one can easily see, these sources will be less risky for the utility company than a non-renewable source such as gas, oil, coal. Now imagine if you get to understand the stable energy means wind and solar power, then energy non-renewable source, this is gone without even reading it because why should I even think about oil, gas and all non-renewable resource? Because my entire assumptions is based on renewable resource. That is wind and solar power. Now it says utility company claim that they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients. Imagine I negate option number C and tell that weather patterns are not consistent and not predictable. Will you be able to provide a stable source of energy? Imagine you go to London and put a solar plant over there, humongous solar panel. Do you think it will make a good sense? No, in London there are just hardly 3 to 4 months there is a sunlight. 8 months there are no sunlight. No sunlight, the most lethargic weather in the world. So if there is no sunlight by putting solar power, what will you do? So if I say weather patterns are not consistent, it means if you cannot predict the weather, Like there are a lot of resources now to predict the weather. You know, one day before when cyclone is coming, what should you do? Everything is very predictable nowadays. But imagine if I say weather patterns are not consistent and not predictable, will you be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients? Mashira, is this making
Will
sense
not.
now? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Will be
What,
weakening
Mashira, very tired?
No. Actually, I was having allergic reaction, so I just wanted a break.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. We are done. This is the last question. We are done.
Y- Yeah.
Now you don't speak. You please take care. Atharv, is this understood? Raghav, any problem here?
No.
Bhavna, any problem? Bhumi,
No.
no problem, right? But you will have problem in eliminating the answers. We have eliminated two answers for sure. So when weather pattern should be 100% consistent and predictable, only then utility company claim that they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients. And you have to read claim very properly, very properly. Every word should be, because CR is a game of wording also. Like how you play around with the words, I'll tell you in the next class. If I do everything right now, it will be a problem. I'm trying to do the least that I can do. So claim is what? They'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients. I know the answer is D. If you do not, if you don't negate it, whether if weather patterns are consistent and predictable, 100% they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients because they are talking about wind and solar power. Now come down to A. A says what? The public will embrace the development of wind and solar power. It says public will embrace the development of wind and solar power. Let's negate this. Public will not embrace the development of wind and solar power. How do you say that it's the wrong thing? The utility company claim that they'll be able to provide a stable source of energy to all their clients. So about whom utility companies are bothered? Utility companies are only bothered about their client. Am I right? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes.
Utility companies are only bothered about their client. They are not bothered about normal public. Okay, you embrace me or you don't embrace me. How the hell it matters to me? Doesn't matter to me at all. I'm here to provide a stable source of energy to my clients. I'm not bothered whether you are embracing my development or you're not. Public embracement and disembracement doesn't make any sense with respect to the utility company conclusion because conclusion very clearly says they are here to provide a stable source of energy to their clients. So this is gone. Am I right? Now tell me why is D wrong? Atharv, answer. Why is D wrong?
Because it is not talking anything related to the claim. That's the reason.
No, that's a very easy answer. Stupid. No. Tell me logically why D is wrong. Anyone?
This is already stated in the
Is it?
argument.
It is already stated in the argument, Anudip. No, I won't
Operational
say.
costs are like not so high. or
So you
something.
say that it is trying to challenge the argument, not it is already stated in the argument. Argument says that it requires initial capital investment,
Yeah.
right? And what is
Yes.
stated over here? The necessary technology for
Conversion.
conversion to wind and solar power is not more expensive. So you don't have to even negate it, Atharv. Moment you say that this is challenging the fact, straight away it is wrong. Because you are not allowed to challenge the fact and support the fact in critical reasoning. Am I right? So C is the right answer. Technically, you know, question number 4 is a very beautiful question I wanted to do, but it's fine. You people study this time. Next class we'll do. So let me explain you the homework for the class. So guys, I expect you to be reading minimum 3 hours for sure. Please, please, please. Look, this is the minimum that you should be doing. I understand you are very busy. Whatever you are, at least, yes, Gopal, please tell me. Any problem with respect
I
to
have a
question, Gopal?
uh, just want to ask one thing for the question number 4. I
Yes,
got
yes, yes, yes.
confused.
Please tell me.
Uh,
Question number 4 or
in
3?
the 4, there's just one option. The option A.
Option A is the answer to this. I'll
So I
explain you in the
mean,
next
it's
class. Yeah, tell me. You tell me your
I
answer. I'm
marked
not explaining anything. Yeah.
I also choose the A, but with great doubt
What is the doubt over here? How can you weaken A causes
because
B? Tell me one thing.
it says only the
One
north
second.
sharply decline.
One second. One second. How can A causes B be weakened?
Sorry, come again.
Imagine how can you weaken this? If I say Gopal is a good guy, he has got into Harvard Business School. How can you weaken this argument? I'll teach you in the next class, but I'm just giving a synopsis, or if people won't understand Gopal. A causes B. Gopal is a good guy. He has got into Harvard. Can be weakened by saying that Gopal is a gold medalist and that's the reason he has got into Harvard. They're what they are trying to say. It is option number. Compared to 90, the population of catchable levels in American water had had sharply declined. They say that they are trying to say here, Gopal, that number of lobsters, 9,000 tons lobsters were taken by illegal boat, right? This is the conclusion they are making,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
But I'm telling you, it's not about 9,000 ton. I'm telling you, catchable lobster itself has declined. The lobsters that was caught before 1992, that itself has declined by 1996. So saying that 9,000 tons were taken by lobsters is 100% weakening the conclusion. Yes or no?
Oh, okay, got it now.
But it's a very beautiful question, guys. We'll do it in the next class. Today, I think you people will go mad for sure because I think it's too much for today. We should not be studying CR also for so long. But see, what is the? I'll open the entire mail right now and explain you the homework. I'll explain you the homework of yesterday's quant class and so also and today's verbal class also. What is the homework for today's verbal class? Just don't go mad about it. And please, one thing for sure, read CR concept book as many times as you can. Anything. If you're doing assumptions, you're supposed to go and read the assumptions theory. If you're doing evaluate, which will start in the next class. Right now, keep reading CR concept book. That's 100% something which is should be taken into consideration. But understand, just reading the book will do nothing. You have to solve question. Let you do everything wrong now. How does it matter? It just does not matter. You getting things right and wrong is an absolutely no issues. So imagine the homework that I'll send for for verbal today. I'll just explain it to you. Evaluate. So next class, what we'll do, I'll explain it to you. Just don't go mad about it. Discussion. Next class, I'll send you this email. Emails are all prepared when I just have to forward it to you. So I'll send you the class today. Today the video because I don't want that you go mad about it. I'll send you the videos of the today's class and say it's written in the next class. We'll be discussing remaining questions of assumptions. There are 9 questions, I think. We have done 3 questions. We'll discuss 6 questions in the next class. And then we'll start a little bit of evaluate as well. Little bit of evaluate means you are supposed to read evaluate and come and evaluate theory is not 23 pages. The theory is just 2 pages. So it's not too much I'm asking. And I'll tell you how should you be doing it. In the next class, we'll be discussing remaining questions of assumptions in detail plus evaluate concepts. You are expected to finish all the remaining questions of assumptions by yourself. So please go ahead, read the CR concept book again. All of you who have come, who have not read the CR concept book, just read the CR concept book once and then do all the questions of assumptions. Now, reading CR concept book, you will have a great clarity. I personally, the reason I don't give you videos of CR before because I want that you have your own thought process before you coming to the class and then you discuss with me as much as you wish in the class. No issues at all. But you will have to finish your assumptions by yourself that we have done in the class. Okay. Now, please read the theory of evaluate from CR concept book. Once done, you should attempt minimum 5 questions. Here, we have to solve 6 questions of assumptions. You can do attempt 4 questions. Let's solve 10 questions at least tomorrow in the next class. Because today, 1.5 hour was just to explain you what CR is. Now, at least CR is clear to you. Let's focus on the questions also. So please read this. Do at least 5 questions or 4 questions of evaluate. I'll be sending it to you. And the reason I ask you to do it before now, because imagine if you come, if you read this question before coming to the class. One second, guys. What the hell is this? So sorry. If you read these questions before coming to the class, mark your answer, then what we can do is that our entire discussion in the class could be ki why something is wrong, why something is right. Because if you take 4 or 5 minutes reading this argument in the class, then our entire class will go very slow. That's the reason I'm telling you, ki just do all these questions by yourself. Mark your answer whatever you wish. Then you sit in the class. I promise you will love each and every second of the class. Because let's have a discussion. I'm not even bothered whether you're marking a right or wrong answer. Just don't mind my words when I say I'm like that. I'm not that professional guy at all, to be very frank. I'm telling you. So if you do this, then we'll have an entire time to discuss on the options and to understand why something could be right, why something could be wrong. And if you feel that, Rahul, I feel this is 100% right, you please tell me in the class. If you don't tell me, how will I get to know? But please don't be so silent in the class. Please, please, please. So I'm attaching CR concept book and the solution and assumptions handout as discussed in the email. So today handout will also be attached over here. I've already given to you in the last class, but still I'm attaching CR concept book again in this mail. I'm attaching the assumptions handout that we are doing again in this mail. Now see it is written. Please make sure to attempt all the questions so that you spend more time discussing questions in the class rather than you reading it. Questions, so please ensure, irrespective of you're getting right or see. So please solve all the questions irrespective of you getting right or wrong. That's absolutely not a botheration at this point of time. Do spend a lot of time. Now today video of assumptions I have given you. I have also attached the solution of assumptions in the email. You can see the solution, but don't see the solution. There are 6 questions remaining. I'll remove the solution today. I'm not sending you the solution. I want you to go through all 6 questions by yourself also. So what you have to do, see here, till Wednesday practice assumptions questions, and from Thursday start with the evaluate topics, because we are doing our next verbal class on Sunday. Till Wednesday practice assumptions questions, and what I have done is, once you are done with once you are done with this handout, let's say this handout will be with you. You have practiced all these 6 questions. It will take you minimum 2 days. Even if you practice 4 days, 4 question a day, 2 day you will be able to finish it. So it should not happen that now you stop doing assumptions at all. See here, I'm attaching the extra questions of assumptions in the mail. You are expected to go through this document very slowly as discussed in the class. There are 85 questions of assumptions, which you have to do it by yourself for your information. So technically, I attach this questions once I'm done with the assumptions chapter. But point is, now imagine for next 1 week, what will you do again? It should not happen that you don't solve a question. Just ensure when I've asked you to study for 3 hours, out of this 1.5 hours should go to verbal part, 1.5 hours should go to quant part, and I'll tell you how should you be doing it. Mashira, I'm so sorry for not giving you break, but please bear with me for 10 minutes. I'm done. So in 1.5 hour, your simple job is that 1 hour you remember that you have to solve questions. Don't, and half an hour you will read the CR concept book. How much ever you can read, no issues at all. So your reading, please understand, first of all, CR concept book after 2-3 weeks, I will not even count in your study time. Here I'm counting right now, okay, half an hour you can read CR concept book. The reading is extremely important, but how much ever you read, it will never matter if you don't do the question. So on a daily basis, I want at least minimum 3 questions of assumptions you can do now. Minimum. And 1 hour I'm giving you for doing the question. Technically, you can do 5 or 6 or 7 questions. But I'm asking you to right now go slow, take your own time, understand why this is the right answer, make a note of it if you want to make that Rahul, this is what I have thought, this is my answer, so that in next class our entire discussion could be on the question rather than I'm giving you time to read the option. So it is not a tough job. I'm just asking you to do 1 hour of question, half hour of CR concept book reading. Read it time and again. It doesn't matter that you have read it once, so it's done. No. If you want that 100% accuracy, you will have to read it time and again. The more you read, the better you understand. That's as simple as it is. So you are not supposed to be bothered by looking into the document that I have attached over here. Please understand, CR concept book is a document that has already been given to you. Assumptions question is something critical reasoning. 1 second. These 2 documents are already given to you in the last, but I've attached it here as well. And assumptions extra questions and its solution. So all I want that once you are done with the assumptions handout till question number 9, please go to extra question. Don't wait for next class for me to happen and then you will start. Keep solving some questions. Take your own time. Take your own sweet time. No issues at all. Because end of the day, solving questions will only help you. Nothing else in the world can help you, I'm telling you. And it doesn't matter you are a good reader, you are a bad reader. At this point of time, simply come and telling you if you are not a reader, you should go and read books. That's all crap thing. It's much better do more number of questions and do it very slowly. So this needs to be done. For us till Thursday, ensure that till Thursday, your entire job should be assumptions. Your half an hour reading should only go to assumptions document till Wednesday. From Thursday onward, what you can do from CR concept book, you can read evaluate topic. And CR handout, I'll send you the evaluate handout also in the mail. See here. I have sent you evaluate handout. Where it is? This is the evaluate. So I want you to just read the theory of evaluate from CR concept book and it will take you just 10 minutes to read it. It's just half an hour. It's just 2 pages theory. All I want that once you read whatever you understand, it doesn't matter at all. Just go and attempt 4 or 5 questions from here. That's it. 100%. And so it might look it's humongous, but technically it is nothing. Now, is everything understood what needs to be done for the verbal class homework of the verbal for next week? Anyone, any problem? Please tell me. Anyone who didn't understand? Anodhi, Pathar, Bhavna, Bhumi, Mashira, is this call clear? What needs to be done for the next week? And
Yeah.
for quant classes, I'll tell you, don't go mad by looking into the length and breadth of the mail. Please ensure. I'm just explaining it to you what needs to be done. Don't absolutely go mad. Because a lot of time it happens that people are completely mad. They call me, it's like, Rahul, what the hell is this? You have sent so much documents and all. There's no document sent to you. This is the video of your class. The point is ki percentage and ratio is a topic which cannot be done just in one class. It should not happen that you are done with the percentage and ratio in one class and percentage and ratio will be over. No. Percentage and ratio is a topic which is tested in each and every chapter. So that's the reason what we do is that we take the first class of percentage and ratio so that you have a great idea of what exactly is percentage and ratio, what is the theory, because the class handout is there. So see here, now there are so many handouts. Now this should not make you mad at all. I'll just tell you what exactly it is. What you have done, this is a pre-work handout. This was supposed to be done before you come for the class because there are easy questions over here. And Shubham told a lot of people have not. It's absolutely acceptable because you people have inquired with me 2 3 days back. So your job is to just do this by yourself. You have been taught theory in the class. Now you just do the pre-work by yourself. Don't do the class work. Class work, if you really feel that you are very good in percentage and ratio, and then you can go ahead and do it because here the questions are challenging one. I think Subham has done just 2 questions. And now he's taking a break from percentage and ratio. The reason behind it is if we do percentage and ratio, let's say I can ask Shubham to take percentage and ratio in the next class and finish it off. That should not be the case with percentage and ratio. The reason behind that, he has taught you a theory. He has taught you whatever the theory parts of percentage and ratio. You might have solved some question. Now for that, we have given you percentage ka extra questions. Wait. So this is percentage extra question. Your job is right now just to go ahead and do pre-work. And these extra questions are pretty simple one. It's not tough one at all. There are some questions which are tough for sure. So you can try doing all these problem. You have any doubts. From next week, I'll form a WhatsApp group. You put in the group, I'll be there, Shubham will be there. We'll be responding to it. In this week, if you have at all any doubt, just ensure that you try and do it. Why not? Because you have to read time and distance also. So in case of math, imagine today is Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Till Wednesday, you can dedicate till Tuesday at least. Sunday, if you are dedicating today, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll test it till Wednesday. You can dedicate all time to percentage. You can watch video again if you have any problem. You can solve the pre-work, and then you can do the extra questions of percentage from here, the handout that is a test. You are supposed to do just 2 or 3 questions on a daily basis. The reason behind that is when you are doing extra questions, please enforce yourself to get the answer right. Don't go mad about it, ki Rahul, it's not happening. You read question number 1, you give 5 minutes to it, and you say, Rahul, it is not happening. What the fuck? No, you cannot do that at all. Just give your time to it. It does not matter. If you feel you can do this question, give time to it. You can only ensure that you give up, that you have given half an hour. And when I say give time to it, I'm not trying to say you think about the logics and all. All I'm trying to say you over here, I want to ask when I can contact you regarding the enrollment. I'll tell you, Shaurya, I'll send the mail. So see here, when you are solving this question, do not at all bother ki this question is not happening, because see, maths question, guys, you have to understand how should you study math. Math is not a study that the way you do in verbal, because verbal, I promise you, after 1 month, all of you will love verbal. How much ever you hate it right now, but you will love verbal for sure. That's a promise from my end, because verbal is all about thought process. You might get a wrong answer. Don't get frustrated. Getting wrong answer is not a big deal. But math, you cannot come and tell me, Rahul, you know what? I have done 20 questions in math, out of which 17 is right and 3 is wrong. And you can be very happy with this. This is bullshit. You cannot be happy. If you have done 17 question wrong, this is the capacity of your brain that you can do 17 question wrong. But if you are happy saying that just 3 questions are wrong, and you go and look into the solution, ki why these 3 questions are wrong, then technically you have not learned anything from this exercise. This is all null and void. Absolutely null and void. You have not learned anything. Always remember, you learn maths from the question that you are trapped in. If a question that you can do, that denotes the capacity of your brain. So you cannot be happy that Rahul, my 17 questions are right. And people go and look this 3 questions, oh, I've got just 3 wrong, I'll look into the solution. That's bullshit. That's absolutely crap. You cannot afford to look into solutions in math at all. And when I say you spend 5 minutes, when I say you can spend half an hour on the question, I don't ask you to do anything. All I'm asking you read question time and again. Habit. If you are not able to solve questions in math, guys, it's a normal thing that you have not read question well. Kahani khatam. Story starts there, story ends there itself. Don't just go mad about it in 5 minutes. It's not happening. It's not happening. Bullshit. No. All your job is to go ahead and read questions time and again. Read it time and again. Automatically, at a point, your brain will start responding to it. And that is what we need to do in math. We are not supposed to just, you are not, people come and tell me, "Ki, Rahul, in 1 hour, I have done 30 questions of math." I feel like slapping them. How can you do 30 questions? It's practically impossible. It is just not possible at all. It is only possible in the exam, and you have to make it possible for it by practicing. So you cannot simply practice in 1 hour 30 questions that you tried for 5 minutes. It didn't happen. You go and looked into the solution and you felt that you have understood it. That is the fakest understanding you will ever carry with yourself till the death of your life. I'm telling you. You cannot do this mistake at all. Get frustrated now, it doesn't matter at all. But just I swear to you, you do this for 20 days. If it doesn't improve, you come and abuse me as much as you wish. Don't go mad about it that trade once and it didn't happen, and then you looked into the solution and you felt that you have understood. That is the fakest understanding you'll ever carry with yourself. It's okay, you have got answer wrong. Read questions again and do it. Because when you do this, this is a way you develop a sort of interest into it. Because a lot of things needs to be looked upon, guys, when you're preparing for GMAT. You cannot simply prepare for GMAT because you have to write the exam. You will have to love the entire process. Then you will be actually in zone of giving the exam. Or else, nahi to it will be a very normal thing that you go ahead and give the exam. Who cares? Don't do that at all. Don't do that preparation at all. So math is nothing. There is nothing to be done. Matlab, it is a desperate way for us to say कि percentage and ratio will be done in 2 or 3 classes. So what Shubham has done is that he has just taught you percentage and ratio. He has given you all the theories. He might have solved questions front of you. All we want, that for percentage and ratio, right now, ratio extra questions, all you are supposed to do 2 questions of percentage, 2 questions of ratio by yourself. That's it. Every day. You're not supposed to do 20, 30 questions. Please don't do 20, 30 questions at all. You put as much head as you can in 2 or 3 questions itself. And imagine if you read the questions, you are able to do it in 1 second. Don't count that as a question at all. Only count the question where you are trapped. So don't go mad about looking into this email. Your job is to do just percentage and ratio till Wednesday or till Thursday, till Wednesday. Just do as much percentage and ratio as you can. Thursday onward, what you can do is that you can start reading this time and distance topic. Time and distance is nothing at all. If you see, distance is equal to speed into time. This is what is time and distance. In time, while you are solving questions of time and distance, either you equate a distance or you equate speed. Any question, or you equate time, not speed. Any questions of time and distance from anywhere in the world, however tough it is, it just does not matter. Either you equate distance or you equate time. That's all. So the point here is कि from Thursday onward, start time and distance topic, leave percentage. All you can ensure that keep doing 1 or 2 questions of percentage and ratio from the extra questions on a daily basis, because your math will not improve that you like this is 1 week you have got. A lot of people will go. There was a guy, कि Rahul, I have done all the extra questions of ratio, percentage and ratio, all. And I got to understand how he has done. Then when he went to the next chapter, he's like, Rahul, I'm done with time and speed also. I'm like, are you mad? You cannot do in this way. Or else, like, let's say if you have a feeling that you are done with time and percentage and ratio, then after 4 weeks, when other chapters come, percentage and ratio, if you don't do any question, it's all gone. All you are supposed to keep doing, the best way to ensure that math is in your command, is that keep solving 2 or 3 questions on a daily basis. You read time and distance now, how does it matter? Even if you have 1.5 hours for quant, you give 1 hour to the chapter from Thursday, you give 1 hour to time and distance and give half an hour to still percentage and ratio. Right now, you can give all the 1.5 hours till Wednesday to percentage and ratio. And giving means just doing 2, 3 questions over there. Reading theory in math will never ever be of your help. Whatever is your label in math, it does not matter. But if you do it in this way, I promise things will be fine. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for taking so much of time to just explain you the work. But I think it's all clear now. A web of DI class will not start right now, Matt. But DI is like once if you're good in arithmetic only, then you can think of DI. Once you are good with arithmetic, Once you are good with arithmetic plus CR, because two-part analysis questions in DI is what? There could be a mathematical question as non-mathematical question. So two-part analysis of non-mathematical question is completely CR, Vaibhav, completely. Yes, Rajat, please carry on. I'm done completely. So DI will not start right now, Vaibhav. Once your arithmetic and CR is done only, then you can think of DI. Else you can't even think of, else you will start crying mad in the class. Because if your DI is bad, Vaibhav, your DI is not bad. Your DI is never bad. If your DI is bad, it means that your arithmetic is bad. It has got nothing to do with DI at all, Vaibhav. Absolutely no. Understood? So chalo, we'll call it for a day today. Let's meet on next Saturday and Sunday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
వెళ్తే ఇప్పుడు ఆ బిల్డింగ్ లో వాళ్ళు